In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Yo, what's the deal, homies? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, we chop it up live from the fan perspective. We're a few minutes late because we were just fiddling around like crazy on the Discord. We were about to launch the new platform, but at the last second, we had a slight hiccups, so we switched back over. But tonight's show is going to be lit. It's Will Pirates slay the Panthers twice. The Panthers lose to the Oakland Raiders, and now we got to face these damn Buccaneers. More Pirates everywhere we look. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time looking back. You know, we can't help. You can't just the post-game show, we're just all in our feelings. We got to go back a little bit before we can step forward. But a lot of the focus is going to be looking towards the Buccaneers, who are also looking for their first win, right? They fall to the Saints. Tom Brady is motivated. And right now, the Panthers, everybody's got something to prove. And I know who's got something to prove. That's my man, Cody Lashney, in the house. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn, man. Listen, I feel like I never have anything to prove, man. I give you my authentic self every time I come on here, just like we all do. But listen, man, we're going to move forward. We're going to put this Raiders game to bed. We're going to look forward to Tampa Bay and Bruce Arians and what they're going to do against the Panthers. And we're going to do it with the best fans in all of YouTube. Cousin Jeff, Chef Jeff, home mycology. What's up, man? Joe Riolano, one of the founders of C3. Sarah Taylor, Underground West, Lee Trotter, 10 Tizzy, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Sorry, my kids are coming in here talking to me while we're doing the show opener. The number's 252-228-5098. You can be a part of the longest-running Panthers podcast. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. We're all over the map, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and we also got Tech Extraordinaire in the house, streamer extraordinaire in the house, Codizzle Allen, also known as CK, the man with the master plan. How you doing?
Man, living the dream. It's been a good day. It's going to be a good week. Some crazy news that happened today that's going to be happening on Tuesday. I'm going to talk to you guys about with my streaming, but right now we're going to talk about the Panthers.
He's sponsored.
No, nothing so crazy. Nothing. Cool. It's still pretty crazy, but not quite that.
I got you. You can check out Codizzle Allen. He's all over the map playing Call of Duty like crazy. Ready for the Cold War. I pre-ordered it. How about that? Cheap-ass Tony Dunn pre-ordered it. We also got Greg, the Bat Daddy, the Stat Daddy. Did you see the Mandalorian clip that came out?
I did. It looks absolutely amazing.
I'm
kind of upset that I watched it on my phone while I was at work instead of waiting till I got home, did a reaction video on it because it was pretty amazing. It's a great show. I'm super excited for it. We're gonna be covering it too. So
what's the name of the flowers, the something, whatever, his special weapon he got when he brought all that mess back? And it's the rose something, and he shoots it out, and it hits like 70 people.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever the name of that is he goes to press it, and little Yoda goes, "I'm out," and he closes it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. We've also got our friend Gene Thomas in the house. Buck, what you heard. Thanks for coming on early and dealing with all our problems.
Hey, man, glad to be on. Thank you for having me on, actually. I appreciate it.
We're going to be talking about the Bucs, but you're going to have to stick around for that a little bit at this point because we do have to go back a little bit and talk about this week, and we'll be talking about your game a little bit in retrospect. So
real
everybody,
quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. I did get to watch the Panthers game, so I think there will be some good things to talk about, in the conversation. It can't be all doom and gloom. It's the first game of the season. People can't jump out the window. Let's wait and see what happens.
You watched the post game.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. It's, Cody already jumped out the window. That's why he's in a wheelchair.
Yep. That is indeed what happened.
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't.
I jumped out the window a long time ago, bro. So, yeah, maybe that's just a part of being a Panthers fan. But no, you're right, man. Listen, a lot of people felt like we were, which I think it was unfair because there's 4 of us on the podcast, but a lot of people thought that me and Greg were too down on the team. And I think we've all had some time to cool down and kind of rethink things and, look at what we're going to do going forward. And I think there was a lot to like, but I maintain that there was also a lot that left a lot to be desired. And I think that's reasonable. But overall, I mean, it wasn't a terrible performance. There's something for us to build on, but I think our defense has a lot of work to do.
All right, don't forget the number's 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe at @cat_chronicles. I do want to remind everybody that if you're looking to put a bet down on any sporting event, the way to do it is to go to mybookie.ag. Mybookie.ag is like a safe, simple way where you can go gamble, you can bet, you can get paid, and get your money out and have some fun in these games. I know the Panthers did not cover the spread, which was at 3 this past week. And now, I'm just pulling it up right now, is that I think it was 9 the last time I checked. Yes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home are favored 9 points, and it's a 48.5 over-under. If you want to get on that action, you can go to mybookie.ag. You're going to use the promo code OVERTIME. They're going to double your first deposit. And new players will get up to $1,000 in free play designed to add more excitement. And Overtime, the network we're part of, is throwing in a little cash of their own. Is that they're going to give away to one listener who goes and registers with mybookie.ag, deposits money and plays a bet, you know what I'm saying, just like having a little fun. All you got to do is you got to take a screenshot of your deposit and you email that to overtime@advertise.com. Overtime@advertisecast.com. You email them that screenshot. They're going to pick one listener at the end of the month from the network, and they're going to give them $500 cash. They're just going to give them straight $500. And then you can go to MyBookie. You can get on the over-unders. You can get on the long plays. Like right now, what are you looking at? Who's the fool's bet? Is it the Cardinals? Is it, Seattle hosting New England? Only 4.5 points that the Seattle Seahawks are getting. Do you feel like it's going to be a defensive matchup? Do you feel like Cam Newton is going to go into Seattle and do something? Are the Panthers competitive? You can get on that action at MyBookie. Don't forget to use the promo code OVERTIME. All right, let's jump into the show. And we'll talk about MyBookie. I got some other spots I'm going to be talking about. I'm dropping a lot of shorts coming up this week. I'm going to start doing a couple of short podcasts afterwards because, we get the cracking on the Tuesday nights. We'll be here till Thursday if you don't shut me up. But the Carolina Panthers had their opening game.
Before you start, 10 Tizzy said bump your microphone volume up just a hair from like a 5 to a 7. Those are 10 Tizzy's words.
All right. So, thank you. Here, let's see if that does it. Thank you, 10, my man. And that is the ultimate Achilles heel of the C3 Panthers podcast in any live stream is getting the shit to work. The Panthers hosted their the open match. We were here. We got a post-game show we're doing right afterwards. We're taking calls. We got a lot of calls in the hole to go through. Carolina, it was an exciting game, guys. It really was. Is that if you look back, I had some notes up. I had some graphics I was going to be putting in, but I got knee deep in this Discord stuff. And so my points was going to be like this, is I had some talking points, and I called them the professor's notes. And this is what I think, is that number one was thank God for Rasul Douglas. right? Rasul Douglas comes in on Wednesday, plays the whole dang game, and makes some big plays. The Panthers only fell, we lose by 4, 34-30, I think was the score. Is that right?
Yeah.
Does that sound
Yeah.
familiar?
Yeah.
It was all there were chance to win. My next talking point was Teddy was what they said he was going to be and what they wanted. The offensive line wasn't that bad. Robbie Anderson is skinny, but wow, he is so skinny. That dude, he does not look like an NFL football player, but he is a playmaker. Watch out, Curtis Samuel. McCaffrey's the GOAT. And have some patience with this defensive line. They're babies. So, guys, now we're a couple of days removed from the game. How are you feeling about the Panthers opener? And try to think about it not just as a single game, but also as the debut of a coaching staff, the debut with no training camp for a lot of people, and a very, very young team. I'll pass the mic to Cody Lashney to get us started.
Yeah, man, I think we fought hard. I think it vindicated giving Christian McCaffrey the contract money that we did in the offseason, especially seeing how other running backs have basically been paid because of him. But seeing what he does for our offense, man, like the Panthers are going to be able to be competitive in just about every game. I think the big question mark out of week 1 right now is our defense. And I'm willing to say that maybe it does need more time to gel, more time to come together. I've seen a lot of people that said that Derek Brown wasn't as bad as we said he was. Fiesc Films in the chat room says Bravion Roy was out there pushing the pocket. That was our 6th round pick out of Baylor. So there's a lot of stuff to build upon. But I think the offensive line did look good, a lot better than I expected it to be. And overall, it was a competitive football game. And now we're going to have to do that against offenses with much better pedigrees, as now we welcome Tom Brady, who's very pissed off, and Gronk and Bruce Arians, and whatever they didn't do right against the Saints, they're looking to get right at home. So we have another stiff test and another opportunity for Teddy Bridgewater to shut people like me up who don't believe that Bridgewater is the future of this franchise. So, this is a prove-it season for Teddy, and he has to continue to do so.
All right, CK, you're 48 hours removed from the game. How are you feeling now?
Honestly, looking back at the offense, I'm less worried about the offense. I think the play calling was what we wanted it to be. He was spreading the ball around. He wasn't creating turnovers. Teddy Bridgewater wasn't the reason we lost. He was not an X factor in why we won, like why we could have won. But he was definitely not doing things that caused us to lose the game. He was getting the ball into areas where they were catchable. They were catchable balls. A lot of the balls, even if they were thrown behind, they were catchable. And as an NFL wide receiver, that's what you're there for. So I'm going to give him credit. I am still just extremely concerned about this defense. This defense is my biggest anxiety of this entire team. Because when you look at this NFC South or anybody we're playing this year, we cannot have a defense with no secondary and no ability to get pressure on the quarterback. Just cannot happen. And that's what happened last Sunday.
I've watched this game more times than is acceptable. My Ice Up pick might go to NFL Game Pass for the coach's film not working today for the Carolina Panthers game for me on my mobile. But I've watched go ahead.
FYI, because of COVID, it'll come out on Wednesdays now.
Is that what it is?
Yep. They streamlined their staff that normally worked on it, so it won't be available until Wednesdays.
Well,
allegedly.
That's a bummer. That's
Blame
a big
COVID.
bummer. Yeah. Well, COVID has ruined everything.
Yeah.
Except for my life, because I've gone to Italy and Florida and lived my life. No, Ali Trotter said this. He said, I was never worried about the offense. But I went and looked. I've watched the game several times going back, and I've tried to just look at it with as impartial of an eye as possible. And I really think that the team looked what I expected, maybe even much better. And I want to lessen some of your fears when it comes to that defense. Number one, yes, is that the weaker side of the ball, clearly, right? I mean, that is why we drafted 7 defensive players in the NFL draft this year. We started 4 rookies, and I believe they were all on the defensive side of the ball. And then there was just some kind of getting to know the personnel out there. But the team did get gashed for some bigger plays early. You know, but play action was problematic. They picked on some youngins, which we all expected. But they were not, arguably, if you looked at the way they handled the run, it was better than they did last year. And that was the Achilles heel of this game, right, is that we really just couldn't get the timely stops at the end of the day. Like, they got positive yards on first down and second down, and then put them in short, third and medium, third and short, and that was problematic for us. But overall, the defense was not just a sieve. Like, they did not look completely out of sorts. Now, there are some looming questions clearly about how is this cornerback group going to handle, hold up given Dante Jackson. What is the pass rush going to look like? Because the real weakness to this team was not just not generating a pass rush, but the pass rush was so simple. And the problem was it was Brian Burns and Gross Matos or whoever else they would stick out there, and they were young guys. And they just speed rushed the outside, and the tackles were just letting them go by pretty much. They were keeping them outside. The David Carr or Derek Carr, whatever his name is, would climb the pocket, and it would be all right. And then this would really hurt us too when they ran to the edges, because you weren't getting that edge contained, because the youngins were so excited trying to get after quarterback, they overcommitted. But overall is we didn't have a tremendous amount of penalties. Yes, there's the Tahir Whitehead penalty, which we all want back. There's the DJ Moore personal foul that you want back. But it was not a game of disorganization. And that's interesting in lieu of the fact that we heard that they were having communication issues between the headset and whoever the signal caller was. They said 10 to 12 plays. So I think here is that the offense looked good, is that ultimately I think this is Teddy Bridgewater played very well for his debut, and I think that's exactly what they wanted him to be. And that is a guy who may not he's not going to do what Aaron Rodgers did to the Vikings, but he was able to, he didn't make mistakes. He didn't play overly conservative either. Right. And was it picture perfect? No, it wasn't.
When you say he didn't play overly conservative, I don't think that he played extrovert or very liberally either. I mean, I think it was a middle of the pack performance.
Which is what they wanted him.
Gene, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of Teddy Bridgewater hate, and again, I just don't understand it. The guy ran for 26 yards. I mean, he was 22 of 34, 270 yards, no interceptions. He made plays with his legs, and he made logical moves down the field. They were able to move the ball up and down the field. On the defensive side of the ball, there were a lot of missed tackles. The players were in place. To make those plays, but they just couldn't wrap up. And I think that's coachable. That's something fixable that can easily be remedied as the season progresses. This is the first game of the season, and that's kind of how you have to look at it. I'm sorry, but I don't have a problem with what Teddy Bridgewater did. I know that people are accustomed to Cam Newton, but I believe that he can get you some wins. He can put you in a position to win if you have 4 quarters of football on both sides of the ball. So I don't think it's as bad. And I said this even before the season started when I was on before. He's not that bad. He's not as bad as people are making him out to be.
I agree.
Yeah. looking at it overall, he had a 98 rating. I mean, I was kind of harsh on him on Saturday, and it's not that I don't like Teddy Bridgewater. I want him to be successful. I don't mind him being our quarterback. I think
You
for
should
me
have
in my
heard you
mind,
on Sunday.
Sunday. That's what I mean. Yeah, for me, what I mean is
'Cause
like
on Saturday
is-
you were ripping them. Sunday, not so much.
Now, is he an upgrade? I think he's an upgrade over the quarterback that you had here last year.
Oh,
but
certainly.
Over Kyle Allen,
yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
But I think the thing, like 10 Tizzy in our chat says, Teddy's fine, but he's not elite, and that's kind of what that's kind of what the fear is. It's like if we're gonna rebuild this football team, there's a lot of the fan base that would rather do it with a brand new quarterback coming through the draft instead of someone that we don't feel like we're gonna be able
It's
to.
gonna come. It's gonna come. It's not, but it just wasn't
Right,
in
listen,
the
I'm
cards
just saying, no. I'm not shitting on them right now. All I'm saying is like to explain to Gene, like the people that are like, it's not that we're not sold on Teddy Bridgewater, but I can also say this too. I feel like part of the reason why Greg and I and a lot of other people online got upset is because Teddy Bridgewater missed a lot of throws. Or not a lot of throws, but he missed a good number of throws. And normally Panther Nation would be saying, oh, well, there's Cam would have missed that. Or, like we brought in this guy to be able to be more accurate and a better ball distributor. And if he's not going to be an upgrade over Cam Newton, then people are
In that respect,
people are going to continue to be like, well, hold on.
I would argue that he was an upgrade in that capacity in this game. But go ahead, Greg. We cut you off. Go ahead back to your comments right here. Is that going back to Saturday and Sunday, little harsh then. Now you've 48 hours removed. How do you feel?
It's like I said, I feel good about Bridgewater. I feel like he can be a sufficient quarterback, but like they said in the chat, I don't see him as an elite quarterback. And I think my biggest issue is what Cody was talking about, but it's also in my mind, I can't imagine getting rid of Cam Newton for anything other than another elite quarterback. And it feels like we can't, because I guess I still had faith in Cam Newton. I felt like he'd come back from being injured, but I feel like getting rid of that kind of player, you have to get, in my mind, something better than Bridgewater. But Bridgewater has the ability to prove me wrong, and I hope he does.
And
I really hope he
arguably,
does.
though, here's the thing: is that in free agency right now, say Cam Newton would have been hurt, right? Say Cam Newton got injured, and we had our pick of the free agent litter. It's probably Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah,
we wanted Teddy Bridgewater, and so I do think I know that there. And look, is that I'm the first person to admit that I love Cam more than anything, and I understand the emotional capacity. And we argued for months and months and months that you're not saving any money, just play him in his last year. Let's see what happens in this and that. And it is irritating to me too when people are like, just turn the page, forget about that. Like, I mean, that's a little bit too much too. But I would say that Teddy was kind of not Cam in a good way on Sunday. Is that, did he miss a couple of passes? Certainly. But he didn't. The only one that I remember that was just like ridiculous, not even like close, was the one in the end zone. And that might even been a good thing, because if you're not going to get the pass, it's better to throw it long. That was the one DJ ended up getting unnecessary roughness, or not the personal.
That miss to the flat was kind of egregious. But, hey, can I be positive for a sec? Listen, I think Teddy Bridgewater has more to prove. He's not done proving it. All right, there's a lot of football left to play. And if anything, one of the things I want to pinpoint 3 different names. Matt Paradis. Is it John Schofield? What's his first name?
Michael Schofield, Prison Break.
Michael Schofield, and John Miller. Man, our interior 3, they looked good. I mean, even when you go back and look at them on film, like not only were they not beaten, really. I mean, maybe one. I think there was one sack, and that might have been on Teddy, in my opinion, for not rolling out when you should have. But our interior offensive line, when you go back and watch the replay and watch the film, watch some of the highlights, Like they never got blown off the football, but there were a few times when they were pancaking the defensive tackles for the Raiders, and they have they have a decent defensive line. So I think that bodes well for Teddy Bridgewater. That bodes well for Christian McCaffrey, and that's going to be our thing going forward. We have to protect Teddy, and we have to feed McCaffrey way more than we did against Vegas. We have to feed him more.
Well, I tell you this, is I tried to been telling you on paper that this offensive line was the best one we've had in a while. And I don't care who the guards were at this point, is that the idea of Moten Okung got beat once, Moten got pushed back once. Boy, we looked at this pocket. It was the best looking pocket we've ever seen.
And the only reason that we got the sack was because
too.
Bridgewater did hold onto the ball way too long.
Yeah, he did hold on to it.
But he had good pocket awareness. He climbed the pocket when it broke and this and that.
He did
like
have good
I
pocket
was
awareness.
absolutely 100% happy with the offensive line's performance. That's the best we've seen in a long time. Yeah, can we say you didn't overly feed Christian McCaffrey? But then last year we were so one-dimensional. It worked. Christian McCaffrey was sensational in this game. I really, looking back, I've watched the game several times, and I was not downtrodden after this loss. The only reason I was disheartened by this loss was because this is the one that I really think we have like a legitimate chance to win.
The winners.
Yeah, is that every other one is, I feel like every other team we're going to play going forward, at least on paper and what we know of them before this past week, it's a larger mountain to climb. But I was very happy. I look back and, I'm not upset with the play calling at all. And we'll talk a little bit about the defense, but let's move to the play calling very quickly. Is that the immediate talk of the town, and kudos for Joe Person to still having a little sensationalism in him. He's the first guy that asked Matt Rule about the fourth down call. I think I've got – here we go. Let me see. Here we go. Here's Matt Rule on the fourth down call.
Scott Fowler from the Charlotte
Scott Fowler.
Observer. Why not put it in Christian McCaffrey's hands on that 4th and 1?
Yeah, it's a great question, and and I'm not second guessing anyone. That's a head coach decision type thing. So to me that's something that I have to think about. Walking away from this, but we have confidence in all of our players, and we have confidence in our plays, and that kind of inside of the yard, that sort of that fullback belly quarterback sneak. That's kind of the world that we're in. And it had worked before, so we thought it would work again. But, I think when you write up, who to blame for that, I think the only person you can blame is the head coach.
I like this is that Matt Rule obviously is going to take the credit for this, whether or not who is the one that calls is that Joe Brady's calling the plays. I'm pretty sure he's giving them carte blanche on that. What's interesting about this is he said we did this earlier in the game. I think they did it on 3rd and 1. They ran the fullback.
Mm-hmm.
There was a 4th and 1 earlier that they got where they ran with Christian McCaffrey, actually.
Yeah.
Overall, I really don't care.
He ran one earlier that was a 4th and 1 that was Arma as well. He got. So
he had a 3rd and 1 pickup and a 4th and 1 pickup?
No, it was a 4th and 1 that they gave him.
I think they only ran him one time.
Well then maybe it was Mike Davis that got a carry. I saw somebody other than Christian McCaffrey on a 3rd and 1 pick it up. But here, look, is the head coach has got to say these things. But even this, as I look at the play call, I look at all of this, is that, all right, we'll just open this up. And let's ask our guest, Gene, is it the wrong call to not give the ball to CMC on 4th and 1 when the game's where you're trying to stay alive? This is the immediate thing Panther fans went ballistic about.
I would have given it to him. I mean, you know what to expect, but I've seen times where he runs and you already know what he's going to do, but they can't stop him. And I saw that a couple of times in the game yesterday against the Raiders. They had him dead to rights, and he still natural ability was able to move the ball forward. Yeah. So yeah, if it were me, that would be the direction I would go. That's what he's there for. He is an offensive weapon, and that's what you want to use him as.
I saw a great tweet, and I wish I could credit the person who said it. It may have been Josh Klein from Roaring Riot or Keep Pounding. I feel like they've been popping up in my feed a ton lately. But they said, look, Madden prepared us for the fullback 4th and 1. Like, that's what you get that on Madden. Basic. I think their point was on Madden, we get that all day long. You're going to get that. And I actually do feel okay with that. That's why you have the fullback, this big guy that's supposed to do this. I think a quarterback sneak might have been interesting. But ultimately, 48 hours removed, Cody, are you still infuriated by the idea that it wasn't Christian McCaffrey, or as some people have floated out, that the run up the gut itself was also just unexciting?
So listen,
Cam would roll that sucker out. Don't say his word.
Yeah.
Don't say his name. I feel like he's
Voldemort.
Is he?
That's Voldemort. You can't say that now.
I'm reading that with my kids now, so I know who that is.
Oh, dude, that was my favorites growing up. But yeah, listen, it was the wrong play call. It was the wrong play call, and they gave it to the wrong person. Listen, I understand if you want to give it to the fullback on a 4th and 1, in the second or third quarter, fine. But when the game is on the line, give it to the guy that you just paid $16 million a year to be the face of this offense. That's not too much to ask. After losing so many people, Christian is the face of this football team right now. And frankly, our offense goes the way that it goes. If we're able to have a dominant rushing attack, then the Panthers are going to be in every game that we play. But if we're not able to feed Christian appropriately, then our chances go down and down and down, because I don't think that we're going to win a shootout with more of these high-powered offenses. But I'm over it now. It was the first game of the year. I'm not gonna hold Matt Rule over unnecessarily hot colds. This was his first time.
It's not Matt Rule.
Being the head coach.
Your golden boy, Joe Brady.
Guys, potentially could Teddy have run that himself? I mean, we saw him make plays with his legs, occasionally throughout the game. Wouldn't he have been another option to get that 1 yard?
I mean, he would have been an
QB
option.
sneak
Curtis
is
Samuel
the
would have been an
highest.
option. You would have had an Ian Thomas or Chris Manhurts. I mean, there's so many options. I am of the opposite, and I said it on Sunday night after the game. I said it worked earlier in the game. We put the ball in Arma's hands. He was able to get the 2 yards when they knew it was going to be Arma. When they knew it was coming up the gut, right? And the fact that it didn't work this time, it's nobody's fault. It's nobody. The Raiders, if you look at it, they played that very, very, very well.
Yeah,
and
I'm 100% fine with it. I have zero
the only
problems
person.
with it.
The only person I would say is when you look at that box as a quarterback, if you have a second option, you take it, because there is nothing. Like, even if you give that ball to Christian McCaffrey, unless he's able to bounce to the outside, nobody was getting through that line right there. That line was tight.
Yeah, and I think Oakland has been better against the run, against the pass, and some things. But this is, I think that the Panthers, they're underdogs. They were underdogs in this game. They're going to be underdogs going forward. I think the fact that we were in it to win it at the end kind of, there's some other things, is that we really shouldn't have been in that situation. There's some ideas that, we gave them an opportunity to get back in the game. So I'm not going to go overly crazy on it. A lot of fans, some fans have been upset. Some fans have been, very supportive. But I do think let's think of it like this is, I would say that we had, Greg, and this is a good way to bring you into the conversation. I remember at the end of the half, you texted us, don't they know they have timeouts? And even though I understand what you were saying, because it felt like you needed to call a timeout, I really felt like at the end of the day, they were making good clock management decisions, because they, you were getting into the end. They're going to make sure there was no time left. It was not, I got what you were saying, right? It's like I understood. It felt
slow. It felt slow. It felt like it for sure.
Good.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
you'll
it felt
even
like
see
it was
the
close.
you'll even see the text that I had right after that. I was like, well, I was wrong. They obviously managed that very well because I felt like the should have called timeout, but that was just me being wrong. And I said
No,
that.
but I was
think,
with you. Like, I was thinking
Yeah.
the same thing. But how many times have we seen a Ron Rivera squad? How many times have people been up here in the chat room talking about how poorly managed the clock was, this and that? And we go, well, Ron Rivera's a defensive coach. You would think he'd be better at managing the clock. Ice up Fangio last night. But
I hate to do this at a whole, but don't you have to? How much are we going to this year? How much of a pass do we give our coaches for it being their first year in the NFL?
But you're not giving them a pass if they're doing it right.
Yeah,
Well,
that wasn't
here's my
anything
thing
wrong with
though.
that.
This is what I think like deep down, and a lot of fans that kind of feel the same way I do are feeling, is I see a completely different team on the field, but I see a completely same result that I had last year. Like I said, last year we scored 30 points a lot of times. A lot of the games we lost by one possession, less than 3 points, or
Thought we
6 points. So
I thought we only scored 30 twice last year.
Nah, we were.
I'll
Well,
have to
maybe it
check
was
it
there
out.
before. We were pretty.
didn't Kyle Allen win the first 5 games that he played?
Yeah, but they weren't like
Yeah.
high scoring affairs.
But they were decent. I remember. Like, we put up decent numbers the last couple of years.
That's my thing, is I see a totally different team, same result, I think, is what I'm feeling. And I know it's first game. I've got to let that go and move forward and see what happens in the future. But I think that's where I'm stuck at the moment. Because I didn't like the rule higher anyway.
Here's where I changed my mind with the urgency at the end of the first half. We were 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 7, and we were on the 50-yard line, and there was 1 minute and 30 seconds left, and the clock was running. And my thought is, if they run this now, Raiders get the ball back with all their timeouts, and they're about to march down the other side of the field. So when we were past the 50, and they started to actually kind of speed up a little bit, they were moving, they were making sure they were lined up. Maybe they weren't running. It didn't feel like they were panicked. I actually felt like it was calm, cool, and collected, which I actually liked because you didn't see mistakes.
And there was a good play right there at the end of the half, too, where Teddy Bridgewater looked at the clock, slid, and took a timeout. And
Smartest thing
I was
I've
impressed
ever
with that.
seen.
Yeah,
I was very
and
impressed
on
with that.
top of that is, how many times have we, with a coaching staff that have been intact, with a quarterback who was been our quarterback, you think he knows what's going on? How many times have the Panthers taken delay of games at that moment with Cam Newton under center, and you're sitting there, and we've always been trying to figure out, is it Mike Shula getting in the play late? Is it this and that? We didn't know. We didn't have that. Even Teddy did let the clock go down to the end. The only bad thing about letting the play clock go down, is that defense does get a little advantage because they know a little bit how to jump. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that if the clock's about to go off. But other than that, I think, too, thinking back, some of the criticism I saw on Twitter and among Panther fans at the end, where we ran it 3 times in the fourth quarter, like, where we were to get to the 4th and 1 or whatever. But Christian McCaffrey had been eating them up, and it was working. Like, you're getting 3, 6, 8 yards a clip. Why not run the ball? And again, if your defense can't stop, anything, you do want to run that clock all the way down. So I think this is that I got glowing reviews for the coaching staff at this point and the way the team looked. And with the idea is that you got to remember is that the difference between Greg last year and this year, and maybe not so much last year because we had Kyle Allen at the helm and stuff, but the idea we thought we could be winners going into the season. This year, it's like all gravy. Like, if we win again, we're like, whoa. Like, that was a positive performance overall.
It's aiming low.
But it's supposed to be. It's not even aiming low because your team is not calibrated to aim high.
Right.
In a certain
I get
way.
that. Yeah.
So we didn't look disorganized overall.
I do want to throw this out there, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. But the play calling to me compared to what I saw at LSU was tepid. It almost looked to me like they were afraid to throw the ball deep at Teddy Bridgewater, to really throw with the explosive plays. Maybe I'm reading into things, I don't know, but it seemed to me like the play calling. It wasn't very inventive. It wasn't.
But does
the
it need
Joe
to
Brady
be when
that
you
was
throw 200? Our quarterback had 270 yards. We rushed for 128 yards. We put up in many here. Let's look at their rushing yards. They had 133 rushing yards. We had 128. We had Derek Carr pass for 239 yards. Teddy Bridgewater pass for 270. We were not stagnant. Do you need to be inventive in a way? I don't know. I was as Joe Brady's first game calling the NFL.
Remember what?
A lot more 3 and outs, like a lot more situations where we should have been better moving the football. And it just seemed like most of our throws were to the middle level of the field. And last year, the Raiders had one of the worst secondary
plays. Did you not see the Saints game? I can't wait to ask.
We were 7 for 13 on third downs, and we had 22 total first downs.
All right, so what? That's a little more than half.
It's pretty good. It was pretty good. All right. The other thing is let me see. I did have because I don't want to spend too much time because the cat calls are going to bring this in. I wanted to bring this up is Gene said that the problems on defense seem to be tackling a little bit, and here's Matt Rule on it, and I think he agrees with Gene.
I think we had a hard time on third down, and they were in so many third and shorts, and I think that just goes back to their ability to run the football and then at the same time get the ball on the perimeter with some screens. There wasn't a lot of drop back passes. There weren't a lot of, there were some play actions that hurt us for some big plays, but there weren't a lot of drop back passes. There was a lot more run the ball, get the ball on the perimeter. And so, we knew going in, going back to all my press conferences all week, I think I said that would be the game, or they're a big, powerful front. And I think we just, the drives where we had success, we stopped them on first down and had them in second and long, and just weren't able to do that enough to have a better day.
I just want to mention that is that when you look at this, and the last comment I have about the defense is that I was actually very excited. I was looking at the defense today, and my question to you is, KK Short done? I screenshotted a picture from Kuntz. I wish if we wouldn't have been messing with the stuff, I was going to have a little bit more time to get some things ready, some graphics. It's crazy. It was crazy. I went and watched the play, and I don't believe the game book. If you go and look at the game book, they tell you the percentage of plays that each player played, and I don't believe it. I just don't think it's right because I watched, and 99 was not out there a lot. I saw a ton of Bravion Roy. It said they only played 30% of the downs. I saw, Zach Kerr, whoever this is, defensive end. I'm starting to wonder, I got questions about this. Is Derek Brown, you go and look at it, yeah, there was a couple of plays maybe he could have been a little bit better, but he's going to be fine settling in. He was a country boy strong, just bucking people at certain times. But my question is, 31 years old, the most expensive player on the team, KK Short, and he's not out there a ton, or it just didn't feel like it. Now, he's my favorite player on the team. I don't want to hear this crap. We should have kept this and this. I don't want no buyer's remorse. But I wonder if the defense is just going to continue to be a bunch of different guys all the time.
Well, I know one thing. I would like our linebacking core to be some different guys. I felt like
talk
they
about that.
Yeah, listen, they looked out of sorts. I feel like we're all going to be mentioning our defensive backfield. And, yeah, we have some problems in our defensive backfield. Thank God we signed Rasul Douglas when we did for him to be able to come in and contribute. But the fact of the matter is the middle of the field, it was bad for us, man. Mm-hmm. And Shaq Thompson wasn't overly impressive either. And, listen, I'm going to give credit where credit was due. Shout out to our man, Pat Coltrane, Baby Bubba. I was watching him on YouTube, and he brought up a good point. It's like, why don't we give Shaq Thompson a shot at the middle linebacker? He's been here with Luke. He's been here with Thomas Davis. Like the middle linebacker in a 4-3 is the most important position amongst the linebacker group, right? They're the quarterback of the defense. Why is a first-year guy with the Panthers manning the most important linebacker position on the football team? Like, why does Shaq still not wrap up when he tackles? Like, there's a lot of dumb things that we continue to see. And, man, once we face the better offensive lines in football, they're going to start to kill us on those second levels when the guards start to pull and start blocking on the second level. I mean, you already saw Josh Jacob. I mean, listen, Josh Jacob was bouncing balls to the edges, and our linebackers knew that it was coming and could not keep up with him. And that's a problem.
All right, so I got two comments on that. One is that I have been rooting for Shaq to be great. I have. I got his jersey before he played it down. Yes. Is it a China version? Yes. It's not the real version. It's a China version. But I don't give a shit. I got mad Chinese jerseys. I don't care. You can get them mugs on Alibaba for like $40. But I've been rooting for him to be great and this and that, and it's just never been consistent. It's never been fantastic, and everybody's always been telling me it's coming, it's there, it's coming. So that's one concern I have there. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention about, I watched the condensed game version, and everybody has been on Twitter talking about Jeremy Chin. And I didn't see what everybody said. Now, I'm not saying he didn't play. I'm gonna try to find his tackle stats or whatever. But everybody said like this dude was a tackling machine, this and that. Jeremy Chin, he had 8 combined tackles. Shaq had 12. I just did not see him as impactful as everybody said he was. Now, I didn't say he was a weakness or a detriment. I'm not saying that. I think this is that the defense, I don't know where the weakness was, and I actually don't feel it was the secondary as much. Now, Henry Ruggs getting hurt was a thing, and that helped us. The last point I would say is that when you were talking about 4-3-3, I actually saw us in the 3-4 a good bit. Not a ton, but we were switching up formations. I like that. I think Snow's defense is going to be nasty. I do want to continue to tell y'all, especially you draft heads, Cody, defensive ends don't work their first 1 or 2 years unless they are Julius Peppers. So temper your gross Matos shit. Temper your gross Matos mess. Temper your – even Brian Burns. We saw the problem with setting the edge over and over. I think this is that this defense is going to be good, but I expect it to be good in 2 years.
Well, Chin saves a touchdown with one of those tackles, and I know we commented on me and DK were talking about it. He closed fast, too. I thought that was a touchdown for sure, and he closed real fast and wrapped up, and I was impressed with that. Can I bring up another topic that we should probably touch on a little bit?
Yeah, and then we're going to sneak in a cat call, and then we're going to talk Tampa Bay because we got Gene sitting here. He's like, and Gene, please talk on the Panthers. I know that you're sitting here going, let me out of here.
No, it's fine. It's good to get a good knowledge of what you guys think of these players. I mean, I've pretty much stopped listening to ESPN and NFL Network. I tend to get my information from podcasts because
me too.
They're a lot more
because we're watching them nonstop. Is that yes? Or no? Are we? Am I a football expert? Am I out here? But I tell you this: is I know all the names of the team. Well, I did until this year. But we're watching every play. It's amazing how much, how niche-y this is going. Go ahead, Greg, and bring that topic up, and then we're going to sneak in a cat call.
Just real quick, minus the actual kicking, we could talk about field goal kicking too. How'd special teams, or how'd that make y'all feel? I know I touched on it real quick on Sunday on the post-game show about how seeing Pharaoh Cooper, I'm not scared of him catching the ball, and I've been scared for so many years of a punt returner, kick returner. What do y'all feel about that? I mean,
he was
feel
amazing.
A lot better about the return
game?
The
third best player on our team.
Yeah.
Right, and here is that I agree with you. Is that like you don't have and maybe it was just like out of naivete that I didn't feel scared because I didn't know. Basically, I don't know Pharaoh Cooper well, right? But I do know he's a 2-time Pro Bowler, I believe, on special teams and some different things. But my man was getting positive yards. He wasn't making dumb plays. The kicking game, the return game has been a weakness for us since Ted Ginn the first time. Really, the first Ted Ginn was the first time that the return game was a threat and positive. The second rendition of Ted Ginn was steady but not positive. Like, he just wasn't making plays, but he wasn't making mistakes. But any other guy other than that, it's just been a fucking nightmare. But I do got to point out this is Sly. Oh, my goodness. Missing the extra point is unacceptable. And the only thing that makes Sly not ready to be pitchforked and kicked out of here is that we watched Gostowski last night. Get the yips.
But it was it was through the NFL though. Kickers are missing extra points. They're missing chip shot. It's just NFL wide. It's not just any specific team. It's everybody.
Do you feel good, Gene, when you see this shit happen to other people?
No, it makes sense. I mean, for whatever reason,
you're supposed to say yes because y'all had 2 years or 3 years of like that shit being miserable.
It's a curse. It's a revolving door curse. It's like our kickers. You can look at Cleveland Brown quarterbacks and look at Buccaneer kickers. It's about the same thing.
That's funny.
All right.
There's a lot of bad kicking right now, though. It's not just. Hey, did y'all see Graham Gano for New York on Monday Night Football?
Did he miss something? Please say yes.
No, I don't recall him missing anything, man.
Shut up. How about this? Did you see that offensive line for the Giants?
Yeah, sucks a big one.
Oh,
Saquon
it's like
couldn't do anything.
Dude, all right, so
like 3 yards, wasn't it?
I flipped over to the channel like I was like a couple minutes late. You know what I'm saying? We're cooking dinner. I turn it on. I see Saquon catch this pass, jumping over cats, being Saquon. And then I had to take my kid to Boy Scouts, and I'm listening on the radio, and they're like, Saquon has -9 yards rushing. I was like, what? I did not. How is that even possible? Anyway, let's go to the cat calls. The number's 252-228-5098. I'm pretty sure they're coming after Greg and Cody like all night.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey guys, it's Tyler from Spruce Pine. I know it's been a while since I've called, and that doesn't mean I'm not listening. I listen to the post-game show with the Raiders, and I gotta say, man, I really don't understand why y'all are so against Teddy Bridgewater. I thought the dude played a pretty decent game, and honestly, we paid the man to be a decent quarterback. It's not like we paid Teddy Bridgewater $30 or $40 million a year. We paid Teddy Bridgewater $20 million per year for 3 years to be a bridge quarterback. So my dream scenario for this year was to be competitive in every game, but lose 15 of them. I don't want to go 0-16. I don't want that mark in franchise history, but I do want that number 1 pick for Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence. And we expected our defense to be bad. I think everybody expected our defense to be bad, but Teddy Bridgewater wasn't the problem. He put up 30 points. The defense gave up 34 and didn't have a sack. I think that was more of the issue than Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, the dude's not perfect, but we didn't pay him to be perfect. He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. I think he did just fine with what he had. And I think he was what we paid him to be.
He was, and I do believe this. He was what we thought he was, maybe even a little better. In his debut. I want to point that out, too. It's a debut game. You know, with all different parts. Like, this offense arguably should get better and better each week. Teddy should get better, you would think. And certainly he's not going to be flawless throughout the season. But I agree. Is that all right, I'll let y'all two take that. I don't need to do it. Y'all two take
I mean, he's nothing he's saying is not true. It's like I said, I mean, Bridgewater didn't have a bad game. Like me and Cody were saying, there are a few things we didn't like, but it is the first game. You know, I've stepped back now. It's the first game. I'm going to give him a chance, but we'll just see what happens, man. I don't think – I guess, like I said, I just wanted an elite quarterback, which we don't have, but we may end up getting one in the future, like you said, Tony. So, and maybe Bridgewater will grow into that, you know?
Yeah, and Teddy Bridgewater is who we thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a game man. I said before this season, if Teddy Bridgewater can end up being Jimmy Garoppolo, then that's the best that we could hope for. Mm-hmm. Then there's someone that operates in rhythm, fast, get the ball out. That, you know, they're not making the craziest throws, but they don't have to because they operate their offense efficiently. And you know, for the most part, we did that. But I still think he missed some layups. And again, I'm just not sold that it's hard to want the number one pick in the draft and then be like, oh, Teddy's good. You know, it's a hard thing to wrestle with, man. But like right now, Teddy has a bunch of games left to prove all of us wrong. Like Greg and me don't need to change our opinions. We're not Teddy Bridgewater believers, and we don't have to be. Granted, if something happens,
you don't
to change,
have to be a hater, though, is what they're gonna say.
But yeah, that's fine.
I'm trying not to be
I
right
don't
now.
hear
Yeah.
is you guys, and to be honest, I do
But
want
hey,
to
how
give
about this? How about this? I'll be a hater if I want to be, man. I feel like
now he's just being
if I'm a hater,
stubborn,
I'm a
man.
hater, bro. Yeah, maybe I am a hater. Listen, man. We got a lot of
hater on your own team. It's wrong. It's not right. It's like, unless his name is Colin Jones, or as we're bringing up Pat Coltrane twice today, Paulin Pones. We don't say his name.
I think there's a difference between being a hater and being reasonable, and I think that Greg and myself are
then after the game, I do want to caution Panther fans is that the post game is an emotional show.
Yes.
Right. Is that we don't get to rewatch and to think and to look. And on top of that, we're saying our opinions on glances. You know what I'm saying? Like, of the game is that yes, everybody watches it as best as possible, but if you look away and this and that, so do know that that's why we say 48 hours removed. Where we at now? We're gonna do one more call and then we're gonna get into this Tampa Bay Bucs stuff, and you guys cover the call because I gotta go get another drink.
Mr. Cody Lashney, Mr. Twitter, Mr. Draft expert.
Here it comes.
You made a comment about Brown, right? Derek Brown, and like how you're disappointed in him, and that how we needed a game-changing linebacker or something, right? Are you talking about that same game-changing linebacker that you said can cover Julio Jones one-on-one? You mean the one that got drafted by the Cardinals? The one that got cooked by Raheem Mostert in the running backs? The one that couldn't keep up in coverage and ran into his own player? The one that gave up 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns and had a whole horse collar penalty? Are we talking about that linebacker in that defense? Which, by the way, if you look across the board of the talented defense of the Cardinals, they're actually better than we are. So what the hell do you think Isaiah Simmons would have did in our defense, Mr. Draft Expert? Yeah, and you're not even a draft expert.
I'll tell you exactly
what Uber drivers are to Amazon. That's what you are to the draft analysis, right? You're a cheaper version of a draft expert. You're a biased Clemson fan, and you don't understand what actually goes into a football game. You're over here making all kinds of comments, but you don't fully understand what you're saying. I get that you like Cam Newton. I get that you like Isaiah Simmons, but Isaiah Simmons had 3 tackles, the same amount of tackles as Derek Brown. Well, by the way, Derek Brown actually had a better game because he had a tackle for a loss and a batted pass on the line of scrimmage. At least he affected the game in some way and not get cooked by running backs out of the backfield.
The affect the game when it matters.
One, please. Don't make excuses for Isaiah Simmons if you ain't going to make excuses for Derek Brown. And the next phone call is for Stat Daddy.
One, here's the deal, man. Like, at the end of the game, I mean, I was just watching the clip that Brian Baldanger put on Twitter right now of the interior guards for the Raiders just blowing and just beating the hell out of Derek Brown, moving him off the football, letting Josh Jacobs run right into the end zone. So, listen, here's what I'm saying. I'm not in the mode to judge a rookie football player based off their first game in the NFL. I'm not telling you that Derek Brown is shit. I'm not telling you that it was a bad draft pick, that he's not going to eventually be what the Panthers want him to be. But there's a lot of shit that goes into it. I'll look at Isaiah Simmons' film and tell you honestly about what happened. But, dude,
like
to make this one for one thing, bro, my thing is this. If one, you're not taking into account what they're being asked to do in their defense, who they're going up against, how their offseason went. I'm not making excuses for no one, bro. And, hey, if you can do a better job writing about football, then do it. Until then, bro, fucking, hey, do better. That's what I always say, man.
All right,
you just a phone call. You ran out of
it.
Yeah, next one's for me. So.
Bro, I'll put my knowledge. Yeah, I'll put my knowledge against any fucking random ass Twitter fan that wants to come in here and talk shit, bro. Fucking put up or shut up.
It's all right. Is that I've taken the brunt of it before. Is that my man told me there's been a couple of times they come after me and they're like, dude, you're so
yeah, but also nothing he said was true either. Like, like if you're gonna say something, at least be factual in the shit that you say.
He's got 3 more calls loaded up, but we're not going to get into them now. We got a lot of calls to get through. Let's, though, turn our attention to the future. And actually, the future past of another team. We brought my longtime buddy, Gene and I go back when it comes to this podcasting joint. We've been hanging out on the internet for like 7 years, bro. You're my man. He's got the best podcast name in the world. Buck What You Heard. Gene Thomas here to help us break down the Bucs. And disappointing start for the Bucs. You lose on the road to the Saints. You know, tempered expectations, I guess, at that moment. I did tweet this out. Fooled by the hype again. I hate to say this, and I actually don't hate to say it to Gene because he's always so nice to us about our own team. There's so many times I thought the Bucs were going to be really good, and they aren't. They haven't been. Like, I've bought into the hype. I'm kind of like, I gotta wait. I won't believe it till I see it type moment. And again, I was fooled again. I was like, man, I think this is it. The defense is straight. This and that. I went back and watched the game, Gene, and I got to believe this. It's not as bad as people say. Yep. That game was lost by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in many ways, and I do know that the Saints, I have underestimated the Saints over and over at every turn. I still don't believe in their defense when I should. It really is good, the defense, and this and that. But the Bucs were not terrible like people want to think. What's your thought about the game? Tom Brady's first start. Are you upset? What's going on?
Man, for me, if you go back and listen to the podcast, I didn't pick the Bucs to win. I was probably one of the few that did not. The Saints have gone to the playoffs the last several years. They've won the NFC South. I mean, they're the team to beat. That's the measuring stick for the NFC South right now, whether you like them or hate them, which I have a lot of hatred for them. They don't have salary cap. I don't know what their salary cap situation is because every time you're supposed to be in salary cap hell, they end up getting a player. And it blows my mind. Mickey Loomis, I have a love-hate relationship with that guy. But kind of getting back to the game, the Bucs beat themselves. There were some really costly penalties, and I know Bucs Twitter. If you follow Bucs Twitter, you hear a lot of people that were mad about the number of penalties. It's where the penalties had occurred that really bothers me. And when you have a drive going, and the drive gets stalled because of stupid penalties. Tom Brady was Tom Brady. His first game as a Buccaneer, uh, I he threw a pick six, and he had another interception. Both led to touchdowns, and you kind of see that's kind of the difference in the game. So it's cohesion, getting these players together, and we'll just kind of have to see what they do to regroup, and it's going to tell a lot about how Tampa responds against the Carolina Panthers in this game.
Why was the Bucs defense not better here? And the reason I say that is because I believe in this Bucs defense. I saw them get better all year last year. The person I really truly believe in is Todd Bowles more than anybody. Is that this guy's legit? And then I look at Drew Brees and they were. I felt like people thought they were better than they were on offense. And I got Alvin Kamara in my fantasy league, so I'm rooting for that secretly. But I don't think that the Saints offense was like a juggernaut. Why did you guys fail there?
Yeah, again, it was just costly penalties and turnovers. I mean, you look, Alvin Kamara was held to, I think, like 46 yards rushing. Michael Thomas was held to 13 yards receiving.
He got injured. He did get injured.
He got injured at the end of the game when they tried to hang 40 on Tampa in that cute little trick play. And, that he was out there, and I think one of his players rolled up on his ankle. But, again, that's –
that the pass from the Mormon to Kamara? Please say it was there. What's the guy that everybody loves, that backup?
It's Taysom. I think Taysom Hill was in on – I had to go back and look at it again. But, again, that was the Bucs. They stopped them at the goal line. They actually didn't get to score. And, I don't see anything wrong with the defense. You guys really should keep an eye on the defense. Devin White, Levante David, Vita Vea. You remember last year, they did a pretty good job stopping Christian McCaffrey in both games.
Yeah.
And, his rushing totals were real low. So, definitely this defense, the majority of the players are back with the exception of maybe one. Winfield Jr., the new safety, I think is another player you guys should really keep an eye on as well. But I think the secondary has improved. And again, the Bucs beat themselves in this game. I mean, they lost the game overall, but if there were stupid penalties and what was it, like 113 yards worth of penalties or something like that. And the Bucs pretty much beat themselves. They need to clean up some of these preseason boneheaded plays that they were making, and I think they'll be just fine.
That kind of leads into my next question. You mentioned how last year Tampa Bay did a great job of stopping the run against us. Like, it was a thing. Christian McCaffrey would eat, but then we'd play y'all, and man, that defense came alive. Are you hopeful that they're going to be able to continue to do that again this year against more teams than just the Panthers? And do you feel confident that you're going to be able to do that against us this Sunday?
Yeah. Just looking at that defense, especially against the run, they've been pretty consistent. And when you have a team that has a season of the defensive coordinator under their belt, it really helps the team to get off to a good start. And I thought they really did. I mean, when you consider Derrick Henry, the Bucs held Derrick Henry to like 75 yards rushing last year, and he was your rushing champion. I just think they have the tools to get in there and stop the run and force Teddy Bridgewater to, make plays with his legs or possibly, with his arm. So we're going to definitely see a lot more of the responsibilities fall back on Teddy if they can stop the run.
Kamara was not bad in this game, but you guys did have some success at times to get him, just like he had some success against you at times but not a ton of yardage unless the trick play. You count the trick play in. Kamara beats ass there and gets some stuff. But this is more of a question about the Saints than it is about the Bucs. If you didn't watch this game closely, Gene, do you come away thinking the Saints are better than they are? And I kind of think you do. I think you kind of sit there and you go, man, look at this. They got ahead. Like, really, is that Brady didn't have a great game. He didn't have a terrible game, but he had, getting to know some things. Right. There's a question to have about his, everybody wants to know, is he done? Is he busted? Is his noodle arm and this and that? But overall, do you think that the Saints were that good?
I go back to it. I think the Bucs beat themselves. The Bucs should have beaten the New Orleans Saints. I mean, when you look at the penalties, that killed the Bucs. And that pick six, there was a pick six and the play calling was a little suspect on that one, but I'm not gonna get into that. And then there was a route that Mike Evans ran the wrong route, and there was just a communication issue, which again is something that can get cleaned up.
Yeah,
is
Brady washed?
No, far from it. I mean, if you look at his arm, if you look at the passes, there was a touch pass that Brady got to Chris Godwin in the first quarter. That was just a dime, and it was just a drop in the bucket, and he caught it, and they were able to move the chains. Again, it's just getting familiar and getting comfortable with your receivers, and I think they will just continue to get better as the season progresses, as long as they can keep Brady upright.
Concerns about Mike Evans' injury?
If it were me, I know I'll get a lot of slander for this, I wouldn't have started him, because soft tissue injuries, and we've seen it throughout the NFL this first week.
Only targeted him once too.
The thing for me is I probably would have sat him just because you want to make sure he's 100%. I mean, you lose Mike Evans on the back end of the season last year to a hamstring injury, and then he tweaks it before you even play your first game of the season. That's concerning. So to me, I don't know. I would rather have a healthy Mike Evans throughout the season than having to worry about, bringing him back too fast and worry about those soft tissue injuries.
All right.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with the fact that when you look at the stat line, this was not an offensive victory for the Saints. Like, I mean, they scored, don't get me wrong, but if you look at how many of their scores came from great field position or from turnovers, it was the defense. Yeah. And so even I remember it was going into the fourth quarter. Alvin Kamara had 17 rushing yards.
Right.
Like 17 rushing yards in the fourth quarter for Alvin Kamara. You had to get a trick play to get him the majority of his yardage. He had a crazy good fantasy day because he was getting the touch.
Because he got touchdowns and it was catches. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's
not rushing. It was not rushing.
Michael Thomas on my fantasy league had 3 catches for 17 yards.
17 yards, yep.
What else can you look at and say, oh, this is an offense that was humming? It wasn't. It was that defense. I saw Cameron Jordan just wreck people. He still got it. I mean, I know that.
And he's still a dick. Did you see him punching?
But the thing is, that play, I'm surprised they didn't call. He says he was going for the ball. If you read his alleged statement,
I mean,
he's
saying, but it's still an asshole move because the play's over and you're literally punching.
He did the same. He did the same thing to Kyle Allen last year, remember? And they were talking about it was a low blow. I mean, it's not like
Vita Vea? Who's the guy that's got the long hair on your
Vita Vea?
No, he would be on offense. I'm sorry. I got twisted. Who's the guy that's got the long hair?
Jensen, center?
So I saw this is that Cameron Jordan punched twice. Boom, boom. He's punching. And then homie shoves Cameron Jordan, and Cameron Jordan goes up to Buck, and then he looks and he goes, nah, I ain't fucking with this big boy. And he's short. The boy was bigger, but he settled down quick, man. I'm telling you, bitch ass. I hate that mug.
That defense is going to be in trouble, man. The attitude that's on that defense for the Saints, and I'm not even just talking about how good they are. Lattimore doesn't know how to keep his cool. Cameron Jordan clearly is just somebody who's going to try to get a hit in anytime he can. They're going to have some issues later on in the year if they can't get that discipline under wraps.
Yeah. Is he in your mind a dirty player, Cam Jordan?
I think he is when he's on the field. I think it's adrenaline more than personal.
Yeah, I would like to have him on my team. That's my thing. Is that
I don't
when is his ass gonna get old? That's what I want to know. Is that like when is he gonna stop mattering? I feel like he's mattered for like the last 6 seasons.
2011 draft.
Is it that? Yeah,
What a
look,
draft.
and he's
That was such a great
still
draft.
beating that. He is a good player, right? Like
Let me ask you this.
I don't
Yeah,
like
that draft
him.
is a subject for me too. So
Yeah.
but
I was going to say, let's
came out of that draft though.
Let's talk about the fact that we know Von Miller was Von Miller, but Von Miller was only Von Miller for a few seasons. He hasn't been the same Von Miller, honestly, since 2015. Do you think that Cam Jordan is the draft pick of that, like defensively?
Don't say that.
I mean, you could make the argument. You really could.
Good.
I mean, he's the
Always
only
on
one
the
that is
field.
consistent
He's always
for.
available.
Yeah,
He's
I mean, I
always
can definitely see that argument being
productive.
made.
So when
And
I
he's
was
always
doing,
fuck with Cam.
when I was doing, going through defensive ends in the year that we drafted Brian Burns, so 2 years ago, that was one of the points that I was making when I was talking about Brian Burns, right? So it's like everyone wants the speed rusher. Everyone wants the fast, move around the edge to go get him guy. But if you're going to play edge, I don't care if it's outside linebacker and a 3-4 or an edge and a 4-3. You have to be able to set a physical edge. You have to be able to do that. So right now, if you're asking me who I would rather take, I mean, especially if you're building a 4-3, yeah, I probably would take Cam Jordan over Von Miller just because I know that he does everything at the highest level. And I do like the fact I like the fact that he shit talks too. I'm not saying that he's a better pass rusher. I think that's easily Von Miller, but I think that Cameron Jordan is probably a more well-rounded defensive end, and he does everything that you need him to do.
He is. He's a dog, bro. Yeah. Hate that motherfucker.
And he does fuck with Cam. He always has. Like they're ultra competitive. And but
yeah,
how can
he always you know what I do like about Cameron Jordan is he talks shit. But then he also he does back it up. He does.
Mm-hmm.
He's always he's always out there. I'm ready for this motherfucker to get old. But he's actually afterwards pretty cool. So does he send the broom to fucking Cam Newton and send the wine and the cheese? Yes. But he also will go on First Take and be like, Cam Newton is the fucking man. He is, and I would like to have him on my team. That's it.
There's a saying for that.
It's like being a Steve Smith.
Yes.
I hated Steve Smith, but the guy I would wanted him to come to Tampa. And when he was a free agent, but when you saw him, he was playing against your team. You're like, God, this guy gets on my nerves.
And then he's talking shit afterwards. You don't like any of it.
Hey, they have a saying for that, man. Real recognize real. That's what it is, man. Like that's what it is. Cam Jordan is a damn good player, and if you can't recognize that, then it's like you're just being salty, man. I mean, after what he's done to us the past few years, like. Mm-hmm. How could you not give that man?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is that I saw that punch and shit though, and then he was ready to fight, and then he looked at that big motherfucker, and the guy was shorter than him, and he was like, "That boy's country star. I ain't trying to fuck with him." Anyway, the number is 252-228-5098. I'm gonna sneak in a call here because Joey, the blind Panther fan, has a call that's related to the Bucs. I want to sneak it on while Gene's here.
Hey guys, it's Joey again. Just wanted to say about, we got at some point in the show we'll get to previewing the next game with the Buccaneers. But here's my thing: if the Raiders beat us, with because I don't think their defense looks better than ours, but that's like saying that's like. how do I put, that's like saying Chipotle is better than Taco Bell. No shit. The Bucs defense has done one thing, and they've been the only team to do it. Now, I'm not saying that, now, all I'm saying is they do this. They may sell out, but they stop CMC.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we have when the Bucs stop CMC? I mean, we're going to have RTB spread the ball around, because if the Bucs bottle up CMC and that's all we have, we're losing that game. Which, I mean, I don't mean to be a pessimist, but, I always like to say we'll win, but after last year, I learned the hard way why you shouldn't always say we're going to win if you know we're not. But I think we're going to lose the Bucs game regardless, because, I mean, they got beaten by the Saints. They're pissed about that. And then they come against a division rival and us that they know they could beat. So, and our defense is shit. And there's Brady, Gronk, Evans.
Gronk is washed.
Who else? Godwin.
O.J. Howard is the man.
Fournette. Basically any offensive free agent that even had anything left in the tank is on the Buccaneers now. So, our defense has our hands full, and Joey Sly can't be missing no extra points, dude. He can't be doing that if we want to win games, especially close ones. But that's my thoughts. But in my head, do I think we're going to win? No. In my heart, do I think we're going to win? Fuck yeah. Anyway, guys. Wow. Keep pounding.
Joey the Blind Panther.
That's a true Panther fan right there.
Oh, yeah, man. That's Joey Esquivel, man. That's the man right there.
How have they stopped CMC?
Well, in the past 2 years, man, that's what I said to Gene earlier. I mean, they did the best job, especially in, I think it was that
week 6. No, it was week 3. It was week 3. They played it because they played them almost right one game.
Was it week 3 or week 2? It was week 2, wasn't it? CK, we were there. It was Cam Newton's last fucking game as a Carolina Panther, where on the final play, Panther fans booed because they remember. And here's the thing: this is why you guys got to be careful about give the ball to CMC. Now it is different because Cam was the face of our offense. Then technically.
Didn't make the goal line play.
It was the stretch goal line play. They didn't get it. Cam was playing with a busted foot. Cam was so off in that game as it went on. Obviously, he was so hurt, or the foot was ridiculous. CK, we were there together. It was miserable. But the Bucs,
we were slightly screwed over on a ball placement because they only had the one camera. Cam Newton definitely there early in the game because the Lightning, they only had the camera going over top.
Yeah.
And so they didn't give us a good look of the ball, and Cam Newton was clearly at the first line, but because they couldn't confirm it 100% or first down marker, they couldn't overturn it because there was no irrefutable because there was only one camera to go off of.
Why can't they put a fucking chip in the ball, folks? Come on.
I know.
I don't know. That's
how have you guys? It's Levante David, it's the linebacking core, and it's Todd Bowles, man. That mug coaches a good fucking defense. Y'all were shit for so long on defense.
So long, yes.
When you shouldn't have kind of been. You know what I mean? In theory, you put a lot of draft picks into the defense. You had good line. And then it just never worked. Todd Bowles comes there and you cut people and you're still good. He's the reason. But how do you stop Christian McCaffrey? Is his mentality kind of a Bill Belichick, which is we're going to take away the thing you do best and then you got to beat us some other way?
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, you have players like Devin White, which I don't think he's gotten to face Carolina yet. I think he was still injured. I think he may have still been injured when the 2 times that the Carolina played. But you do have Devin White now. Levante David is they're both 100% healthy, and I think being able to set the edge and being able to dial up blitzes and disguise blitzes, I think it's going to definitely benefit the Bucs defense. The one thing that I will say is very sound tackling. The one thing that really didn't get mentioned in that Saints game was very sound tackling. And we haven't had that for a long time. And that's from everybody from your safeties, cornerbacks, on down to your front seven.
Which has not been a historic thing for the Bucs.
Exactly. That's been a very undisciplined part of the Bucs scheme, and they've really tuned that up. And everybody's buying in. And so, you looked at them turning the corner on the back end of the season, and they got off to what I would consider a very solid start. They got some stops where they needed to. And again, those turnovers and penalties is what really hurt this team. But I'm excited to see the defense and see what they can do against the Carolina Panthers.
So Baker says Devin White was in the London game. And the other thing that I did want to point out about Todd Bowles is that I'm a secret. I love Todd Bowles. Like, I really have always been a fan of him. But he made the Jets relevant with the bullshit that is the Jets. And their defense was always legit, despite fucking GM that sabotaged everything and owner. You know what I'm saying? It was just a mess. And somehow he did it. I think he's a perfect fit as a defensive coordinator. To me, he's kind of like a Jack Del Rio, which is like always an asset to have as long as he's not on Twitter, Jack Del Rio.
Gene, let me ask you this. Let's put it plainly, right? So it's kind of a two-part question. What did you see from Carolina's defense and what you saw? And do you think that there are favorable matchups that are going to favor Tampa Bay going into this game? So, for example, did you see anything that gives you hope as a Buccaneers fan that, Tom and Bruce Arians, they're going to be able to do this against that defense? What did you think about Carolina's defense and how Tampa will be able to attack them?
I think running the ball will be huge. I noticed that there were a lot of physical runs that there were missed tackles, and there were a couple of bad angles, but for the most part, this is a fast team, a very fast team, and they were around the ball, but there were just opportunities to make stops, and those stops didn't happen. So I don't know. I feel like when you have a Ronald Jones doing what he was doing against that Saints defense, I think he only had like 60-some yards. But still being able to.
He was productive. Yeah. I don't care what people's. And where was Fournette?
Fournette, they had him in a few times.
It was 5 carries. That was it. I think it was something like. I remember I was watching the game tape. I watched it late last night on the condensed version on Game Pass, and I did watch it live, but it was in the background. Yeah. But I was shocked that Leonard Fournette was not featured. And that is indicative of Leonard Fournette more than anything.
Yeah, you got to consider he just got to Tampa. Again, Ronald Jones earned that starting running back position,
and we haven't
talked about LaShawn McCoy. And this is one of those things where
LaShawn McCoy is on this
team. Just keep naming names.
Oh my gosh! Can you get Richard Sherman too?
No, but again, I think the running game is going to be a huge part of this. I do believe that Tom Brady is looking to right the wrongs that he had last week, and you'll see more passes to Mike Evans this week.
You think Chris he's going to play? You think he's going to play? I think they give him the week off this week against the Panthers. And who is this third receiver that all the fantasy joints are all talking about?
Scotty Miller. He's fast.
Tom Brady likes him out. He's like his new little Edelman or something.
Yeah, he's fast. He's probably one of the faster players on the team, actually. And if he can stay healthy, he's another weapon that they have.
Thoughts on Gronkowski?
I'm not sold. But
he looked a little slow out there.
Yeah, Actually, I forgot who he hit. He ran into somebody, and they had to come off the field. That I can't remember the play, but that was about it. I didn't see a whole.
All on his ass too. They were not having it. The Saints were not gonna let Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski beat them. But again, I continue to say this: is this mug, OJ Howard, the most disrespected mug in the world? He is y'all's Cameron Artis Payne in a way, except for he's been successful. Cameron Artis Payne wasn't. OJ Howard is a baller, bro. And I don't know why he has not been loved. Is it Arians just not liking tight ends, or what the hell?
Arians' offense is not predicated on tight ends, but the good thing is you got Tom Brady who loves his tight ends. So I'm hoping to see more of Cam Brady, Gronk, and
dude,
and OJ
Howard was a beast in that game, dude. He was dominating.
Blocking was he was just spot on with his blocking too. So
let me ask you, if you don't mind, with the way that the offense runs, right? I didn't get a chance to watch a tremendous amount of what was going on. I know that there were some things that Tom Brady was able to do, but as we all know, in Bruce Arians' history of being an offensive coordinator, a head coach, that is an air raid offense. Like that's what it's predicated on. So I've always held the mindset that Tom Brady is not an air raid quarterback. He had 1 year with a Randy Moss that he was able to be like an air raid quarterback in that respect. So what you have is, I've heard two different forms of thought here. You've handed the reins over to Tom Brady to actually run the offense the way he wants to run it. But then you eliminate what Bruce Arians brought to the table to begin with as a head coach. So what do you feel like that mesh of those two worlds looks like, and are they doing it successfully based on what you saw on Sunday?
Yeah, I think they need to get on the same page. There have been some miscommunications, and I think that'll get cleaned up. Again, I love the tight end position. I think that it gets utilized more than just a blocker, and actually be used as an offensive weapon. And I think that Tom Brady will, implement a lot of his tight ends, especially in the red zone. And I think you'll get to see a whole lot more of that from him. I think you had to give Tom Brady some kind of control over the offense in order to get him to Tampa too. I think that would definitely have had to have been part of the thing.
It would be silly not to. He's the GOAT.
And again, that's kind of when I look at it all, I think that's a big part of it right there. Is you have to give him the ability to change up a play at the line of scrimmage if he sees something in a pre-snap read, to where he can say, okay, I see this, let's go this way. And again, this was the first game. I think that things will just continue to improve as the season goes along.
Who do you guys got after the Panthers?
Ooh, good question.
The Broncos. The Broncos. Ooh, which I don't think the Broncos are a bad team. They looked all right last night.
Yeah, but they were running at will on the Titans. So I don't know. It's gonna.
I have been a skeptic of the dream team concept. Ever since that's been so rare for any team to be able to be successful with the dream team aspect of I'm going to build
rendition.
Yeah.
I mean, even with Tampa as well, you got to keep in mind, outside of the fact that it was Jameis Winston with Deshaun Jackson, and nonetheless, what you also find is when you have a group of alphas, leaders, people who expect to get the ball, there's only so many people that can get the ball,
right.
And at what point winning does something, right? Winning does alleviate some of that. At what point does that just crumble? Because it's going to, if you guys aren't able to win, Mike Evans isn't getting the rock, Chris Godwin isn't getting the rock. Everybody's getting the rock equal amount of times, but nobody's a superstar. I mean, and they're not winning. What is there a certain timetable you believe that this team just explodes, or do you think there is no way that's going to happen? Everybody's going to maintain a level head, which we know Mike Evans is not known for keeping a level head in certain cases. But what do you think?
It's just Lattimore, but I think he's fine any other time. It's just him and Marshawn Lattimore. They're that's their thing right there.
Yeah.
go back and forth. I would say injuries are going to be, we are in the NFL. There will be injuries, and just how this team overcomes that, it will probably be the answer to the question is how do they overcome that and move forward. I think with Tom Brady, we saw that. I think he was 12-3 last year with the squad he had.
Yeah.
I believe that he can make use of some of the players that that we haven't seen yet. And I think the Bucs will be just fine. Again,
gotcha.
You want everybody to be healthy, but I think you've got a quarterback that is normally a good decision maker, and I'm hopeful that really helps us, on down the line when we get to the middle and back end of the season.
Oddly, I want the Tampa Bay Bucs to do well this year. I want them to win the NFC South because the Panthers are not going to be the ones to do it. I don't want the Saints to win it, and I definitely don't want the Falcons to win it. So if anybody's going to do it, I wanted the Saints. I mean, I wanted the Bucs to be able to do it.
And I'm calling it right now. I've been calling it for months. It is, I believe, it's going to be a New England Patriots versus a Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl, and it's going to be one of the most epic Super Bowl matchups of all time. What your thoughts on the offensive line, and and then you can hang out as long as you want, Gene. I know that you've given us a ton of time, man, so I really appreciate it. But the Achilles heel of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has always been, well, other than blind Joey, it was blind Jameis, and it's really it's been the offensive line. It was not tremendously great in this game. Tristan Riffs, right? Rookie, false start. I saw some stuff but is it getting better?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, he went up against Cam Jordan that the majority of, I wouldn't say the majority of, but quite a few snaps, and he was very successful. I think Donovan Smith is the weak link on the offensive line, or was the weak link last week, and he's off again, on again, and that's been a huge problem. And hopefully he can get that turned around. I will have to wait and see what happens, but again, I love Ryan Jensen, I love Ali Marpet, and some of your other offensive linemen that they have on along there. But I think they'll be fine. Brady's not holding onto the ball too long. I think that the Saints are good. Their defense is good, and that never gets mentioned. Is that they actually have a good defense. I think they were like number 4 against the run, and or are they number 15?
It's hard to believe it almost. That's how I feel about the Saints. Is like I know it's good, but it's hard to believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's been so shitty for so long.
Yeah. But, they're the king of the hill right now. And that, like I said at the beginning of the show, that's the benchmark that you're going to have to go up against to see, where your team is facing the champion, the NFC South champion, to kind of know. So
just like the other thing that's been hard to believe, but it's true, is they've got a very good offensive line, the Saints.
Yes.
And if for so long it was just so atrocious, it started oddly with that Unger trade. Is really when they really started, I feel like, to turn around, and you're like, oh man, they ain't good. Then they're good each week. So 9 points is a lot, but hey,
huge.
You think you cut? I mean, what are your thoughts? You cover?
Oh, I'm not good with predictions, man. I see the Bucs winning this game. I think the run game, establishing the run, will be huge, and opening up the middle of the field. One thing that I did kind of see as well, I kind of forgot to mention it, but the Carolina being a little soft in the middle of the field, and hopefully they can clean that up a little bit.
Let's go around the horn real quick and sneak in some picks. We didn't do it last week, I don't think. Is Cody, what do you think? You going to pick the Panthers over Tampa Bay on the road? Come on.
No, I'm picking Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay bounces back. I think that when you have two offensive veterans like Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, they're going to figure it out. Again, and every fan base right now can cling to that thing of, oh, it was the first game of the season. We didn't have time to practice. And really no one can say shit about it because it might well be true. I mean, it might well be true that that game would have been more competitive if Tom Brady and his receivers would have been on the same page on a few of those interceptions. I think some of them were on Tom, and I think some of them were on his receivers. But I think that they're going to have time to get that right. I hope that our offense is more aggressive. I want to see more passes to Christian McCaffrey. I hope that we get him much more involved in the passing attack. And I do think it'll be a competitive game. I think it's going to be another cardiac cats. I think our offense will impress. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're going to have a similar score. I'll say 37-31 Tampa Bay at home.
Okay. Anybody think the Panthers are going to win this? And then we'll just move on to the other division games super quick.
No.
Nobody's picking the Panthers. It's the worst Panthers.
Not with this defense. Not with this defense.
I am not with the Buccaneers, who are going to be on a vengeance. The Falcons on the road with the Cowboys. Gene, what do you think? Falcons got.
I don't care. I don't care if the Falcons
mug-lumped.
are a high school team. I'm never gonna pick them. So.
Okay, so he's got the Cowboys. You guys think anybody picking? What y'all thoughts? Y'all tell me. Anybody picking the Falcons in this game on this podcast?
I think Dak bounces back from a week where people sit there and question his will to want to be a football player.
I don't think the Falcons are as bad as we think, and I'm still.
I mean,
I thought they were going to be better, but look, as they negated Todd Gurley entirely in that game by getting up by 2 scores. They did play a Russell Wilson that was super aggressive. I'm not picking the Falcons to win, but I don't think this is going to be an easy game for the Cowboys.
I don't think it will be either, but Dallas is just too talented at some point in time, they got to start winning and being an elite team because they have an insane amount of talent, man. On paper, I think they're the best team in the NFL. It's insane, but I think the Falcons have the chance to win because they surprised me last year with a lot of games, but I think overall Dallas is going to take this one, especially being at home. They just lost their home opener. Losing a second game in a row at home is going to be weird. It is in Dallas, right?
Anybody think the Raiders are going to upset the Saints? I don't.
No, I do not.
I do.
I think I'm of the mind.
I'm going to tell you why. Because Michael Thomas is out. He won't be playing. I think that you saw a good pass rush from the Raiders. And I think that it's going to be a competitive game. I think they could sneak a win.
I'm with Cody on this. I don't think so. CK, you think so?
I think so. They didn't lose much. And Ruggs is a stud. He is going to eat all day against that Saints. And I know that may sound silly because that defensive line.
Sounds Saints. They got Jamarcus. They got all these cats back there. They're good.
But think about it. They have how many weapons do the Raiders have? They have one of the best tight ends in the league. They have Josh Jacobs. They have Ruggs. They have who's that other cat that kept on
Brian
burning
Edwards Jr.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have a large amount of weapons.
Jason Witten. Watch out.
Yeah, when he was going for the 4th down and he couldn't even get his speed around where he could reach. It was 4th down and goal or something like that, or 3rd down and goal.
I think the issue for them is going to be this: they only managed 1 sack against Carolina, and that was more kind of on Teddy for not moving away properly. If it was a problem with us, and by the way, I do think our offensive line played great, actually. They played really well. The Saints have a damn good offense. They have a really good offensive line. And
I think they have a good offensive line. I'm not sure I see much beyond that with the offense.
Right, but if anything, it just means that Drew Brees is going to have enough time to dink and dunk. The one thing I give the Saints credit is that their offense really isn't built around one particular person. That's why Teddy Bridgewater was able to step in for them last year. It's a concerted effort. I think they're healthy enough for the most part. Yeah, man. As much as I hate to say it, the Saints are going to be a problem again.
I have a question because I think it pertains to us, especially as down in the dumps as we were about a lot of different facets of our team last week. If Oakland comes out and destroys the Saints and doesn't allow a single sack, doesn't do anything crazy, right? but destroys the Saints, does it make you feel better about our number one, our pass rush, but also our team in general?
A little bit, but it also depends on what we do. Like if we go out there and we just get annihilated, that's got to stand for something too, But yeah, it would a little bit.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm hoping for it.
Yeah. It depends on what we do. It depends on what we're doing, how we look. If we're able to take a step forward, then yeah, we can say the Raiders are just a damn good football team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a long way to go, though, man. That's a tough ask.
All right. Gene has hung out with us all night. You are more than welcome to hang with us forever. But I know anyway. Tell us where our fans can catch your podcast. And if you want to hang out, you can. But I know you got stuff to do probably as well. We got some calls to get to. We're gonna have to. Cody and them are gonna have to take their flogging. The calls are coming, and they gotta take them. We are not backing away from them. We got some other things to do, but Gene Thomas, man, thanks so much for your time. Anyway, again, you're welcome to stay. But where can they find your podcast at?
You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. On Twitter. You follow me, I'll follow you back, and it's the Buck What You Heard podcast. I love the fans. I think you guys have some of the best fans on podcasts, and I really appreciate them. Very knowledgeable, very passionate. So you guys keep doing what you're doing, and I think you guys have a good show.
Man, I appreciate it. Buck What You Heard. That's Gene Thomas. Follow him.
Thanks, Gene.
Great friend of the show, man. We've been around, and we got to get a little southbound and down back in the house.
I think we do, man. It's long overdue.
Yeah. All right. So you guys check out Gene, and guys, we appreciate it, man. All right. So the number's 252-228-5098. It's the C3 Panthers podcast. Smash the thumbs up button, and hang out with us. Before we get to the cat calls, I did want to say this. My favorite thing from the game, and hopefully you won't be able to see it, but you will be able to hear it, guys. Oh, hold on. Let me fix the camera view. Actually, any thoughts real quick as I fix this camera view so Cody don't look crazy? Carry the show for a second. Carry the show.
I mean, going into this, let's do this. Do we think that this was a one-off? Do we think our defense is going to be able to pick it up? Just simple. Do we think that we're going to have a better performance against Tampa than we did against Oakland?
I don't have anything pointing to making me believe that, but there's always a possibility. Like first game, I give everybody credit for that. It's like you said, Cody. We can't really
believe that Oakland is a better team though than Tampa.
Vegas.
Well,
you're right. They're not Oakland. Yeah. Good point. Oh,
everyone's gonna keep doing that forever.
Here's something I think is important. When we played the clip of Matt Rule talking about the fourth down call, Greg had a pretty interesting face.
I did. Because he took complete blame for it, like full responsibility for it, and that impressed me. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm glad you did that.
I know that's a small step, but I mean, I feel like that's more indicative of who he is as a coach and a person and a human being on this earth than the perception that I think we have created, but also the media has created and fans have created with regard to what he has done in his tenure here. So I'm hoping to hear more things like that. But the fact that he came in and he immediately didn't even hesitate. It was no dancing around. It was no trying to say, well, we all could do our jobs a little bit better. We got to give Oakland credit, all that stuff. He said, it's on me.
It started out like that, though. It started out like he was going to dance around it and just say a whole bunch of coach speak. And that's why I was like, oh, come on. And then he took responsibility. And that kind of was okay.
I feel like the only thing I'm really sad about Matt Rule so far is I got no good sound clips. Like he's so even keel right now, and everything is it's like boring. Teddy's boring.
I just want him to be mic'd up one day.
Yeah. All right. Here is my computer's acting slow. Got a lot of programs running, obviously. So I'm gonna mute our cameras, so they will not be able to see our reaction, but react as much as you want to this. This is Robbie Anderson mic'd up in this game right here. Talking about old.
What's that bear doing?
The bear.
Panther.
That's Sir Purr.
Who?
Sir Purr.
How you say that?
Sir Purr.
Sir Purr. Oh, Sir Purr. Wow. You call him that?
Yeah, that's his name.
So you be like, what's up, Sir Purr?
It's Robbie Anderson.
Who's that bear over there?
What's that bear over there, dude?
Bro,
Holy cow. That was my joint right there. He's my favorite player on this team now.
Dude, how much of an airhead do you have to be? You know it's our mascot. You know it's not a fucking bear. Come on, dude.
That's pretty funny,
Bro, I don't
What's
even know.
that bear over there? I mean, Panther. He says, "This Sir Purr." What's Sir Purr? What's his name? And then and then it's DJ. What I like about this though is that off the topic of Sir Purr, is that DJ Curtis and him are chilling. DJ's like the Sir Purr, right? Like, yeah, welcome to the club. I know you're new. But Curtis Samuel, if you look at it, I'm going to show it one more time. I know you guys can't see it, but if you're watching, Curtis Samuel, I feel bad for talking a little. Remember I said how skinny Robbie Anderson was? Look at how cock D's fucking Curtis Samuel looks beside him.
Who? Sir Purr. How you say that? Sir Purr. Sir Purr. Oh, Sir Purr. Wow.
Curtis Samuel
You
looks
call
big
him that?
there, dude.
So you be like, what's up, Sir Purr?
Yeah, what's up? We say like, what's up, Robbie Anderson? Is that your name? Nah, that's funny. It was so funny. What's up with that bear?
Yeah, Curtis, we're having to wait until the video shows up. Yeah, bro, that's what we're saying. Curtis Samuel, bro, he's built, he's thick. But hold up.
Get off the set. Curtis Samuel's old news. Robbie Anderson is the fire to this team.
Hey, let me ask you, who got the ball the last game, or the ball on the last play of the game?
Alex
Arma.
Nope, that was not the last play of the game.
Well, yeah, that was the pass that Teddy Bridgewater threw
to Curtis Samuel. By the way, they
was
trusted
what?
Curtis Samuel with the last play of the game. We were on the 50-yard line or 40-yard line or something like that. We had like 7 seconds left in the game. We had already lost the 4th and 1. We got the ball back with a limited amount of time left. And the person that they threw the ball to was Curtis Samuel. So they obviously have trust in him and his ability and his playmaking that they gave him the ball on the last play of the game.
I will say this is that look is I was so high on Curtis Samuel coming out that I've now swung back just to be because I'm tired of it. They did show confidence in him early in this game. They went to him early and then he was missing. But the real guy on this offense is Robbie Anderson in that receiving core. I believe that this offensive coordinator and Teddy Bridgewater worked to Robbie killed it this game. He had it wasn't just the 75 yards, bro. They were going to him. And I'm not talking about Christian McCaffrey. Exclude Christian McCaffrey. I said receiving core.
But dude, this is what I'm saying. Remember how last year Kyle Allen was just targeting DJ Moore? Yeah, that's going to be the same thing this year with Robbie Anderson. That's Teddy Bridgewater's guy.
No, he's the 2 read. No, it's not the same. It's nowhere the same. And Robbie Anderson is a baller, bro.
By the way, because of that, Greg is definitely going to win our bet. The bet that we have between Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel, who's going to have more. Yeah, dude, I already tell you, you're for sure winning that one. Because, dude, in my mind, it's the same thing as last year. Bridgewater and Matt Rule and Joe Brady, they are going to damn near treat Robbie Anderson almost like he's the number 1 wide receiver here.
I'm buying his jersey, homie.
A lot.
I'm buying his jersey. His tweets are hard to read like Cam's.
After Sunday, I wouldn't be surprised if they name him the number 1 wide receiver. You know, because DJ Moore, how many drops did he have?
There were some tough passes too. Man.
I mean, are they going to do that for one game though? I mean,
I mean,
DJ
the reason I'm
got
saying
in
that
trouble
is
when he put his little finger on.
that's what I'm saying. You
Yeah,
you mix that with the lack of discipline on DJ Moore. I mean,
true.
and I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't seeing a ton of separation that DJ Moore was getting. You know, I wasn't saying he was bad, but at the same time, he wasn't targeted for a reason. I feel like as much as Robbie Anderson was able to get separation. I do think that even if you look at the numbers, it looks a lot better for Robbie Anderson because of one play, and that's not his fault. We've talked about it. I'm not
it was a
blaming
good
him.
play, and you guys are too hard on Teddy. It was a good play. It was a good read. Everything was fine about it.
Oh, it was a great read. He made the right decision. How many times have we seen Cam miss a wide open person out there and throw it to Christian?
And homie was coming, and he missed the tackle, and he went on. All right, I want to go ahead and we got to get through these calls, bro. We're gonna be here all.
How many calls?
Night. Oh, they're coming after.
Oh yeah, there it is. I know it's gonna be like it.
I can't count it, bro.
Greg, I hope you're on the hill with me, man.
Y'all got to take this beat, not me. I feel like this is Ryan.
Hey, you know what though?
Stat Daddy, this is Ryan from Tucson, by the way. You were over here talking about Teddy Bridgewater smiling with 8 seconds left, trotting on the field like he didn't care about winning. So are you gonna fail to mention Cam Newton not jumping on a damn fumble at the most important game of his entire career?
Yeah, I certainly will.
Seriously, are you going to be hypocritical like that for the first game of the season and not bother to talk about what Cam Newton didn't do in the Super Bowl? Oh, and you want to know his excuse? And these are his exact quotes. I didn't want to risk injury.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not throwing shade on Cam, but don't be throwing shade on Teddy Bridgewater if he's no better than Cam Newton and Cam Newton's no better than he is.
Two different things, right?
So calm down on that crap. And on top of that, y'all acting like Cam Newton beat the defending Super Bowl champions. He played against Miami and threw the ball 19 times. Chill out.
17
you think he started running the ball 15 times against San Francisco's defense? Against the Buffalo Bills defense? I don't think so. As far as I'm concerned, I hope Cam Newton has a great year, and I hope he wins the Super Bowl in New England. But if they're going to run him 15 times like they did against Miami, he's going to end up in the same place he ended up last year, on injured reserve.
Good point.
So everybody just needs to calm down with this overreaction. And I got one more phone call for you, Mr. Stat Daddy, who likes to say stats don't lie, but never throws stats out anyways.
Okay. Well, first of all, trying to compare the Cam Newton Super Bowl thing to the Teddy Bridgewater walking on the field smiling, you're talking about two different damn things right there. And I'll tell you what, do you really want your franchise quarterback that just won MVP to dive into a pile of linebackers and offensive defensive linemen, arms out to grab the ball? Do you really want that? Like, if he does that, I'm asking if he did that and he injured his arm.
I want a way to take a piss. Did he pretty?
It's so dumb. He's trying to make a one-for-one comparison on Teddy Bridgewater missing passes to the flat in the opening game of the season, and then wants to bring up Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. Like all this Teddy Bridgewater apologists, all these Teddy Bridgewater apologists sound like all the losers who have done nothing but shit on Cam Newton for the past 5 years, man. Like, now y'all are.
But in fairness to them, is that you guys know that part of your hesitation about Teddy, part of your hesitation about any of this, is that we're sad that it's not with Cam. You guys know that's true.
No, that's not fair. Because
some of it is because we're sad it's not with Cam, and I'm telling you, I know. Well, it is for me. I'm not going to speak for y'all. I know it is for me. Is that I'm not gonna. I haven't been negative on Teddy at all. Other than I just wish it was Cam there. It's kind of like did you guys see? I was listening to this podcast. I love listen to Josh Norris and Roto World football podcast. They're great. Josh Norris has a connection back to WFNZ in Charlotte. So he knows, and he's, I always like guys that like the guys I like, so he's always been complimentary and very fair to Cam. And they were talking with somebody. They have this great podcast where they bring in one person has to watch these two games, and they do the games on the night of, and it's like a 2-hour podcast, but they do every game and they talk about it for 15 minutes. And they were talking about the Redskins game, and because you can wear the number 0 now as a running back, and they called him the number 0 savior. Like it was like, oh, and that like Cam's our number 1 save, you know what I mean? And that was the thing, and that's why it's kind of like, it's just your first. Yeah, it is. That's it.
But I
wanted it to be with Cam.
I have a question about what he said. I don't and I may be wrong, but I don't recall Cam giving an excuse about why he didn't dive, saying that he didn't want to get injured.
Yeah.
I feel like we made that excuse for him a lot. And the other team said we don't blame him for not jumping on because we were going to pop him in the face and probably end his career.
I still think I will defend this to the death, is that in some ways slow motion has ruined football.
Oh yeah, it ruined that play for sure.
Well, but no, even with I've always said this with replay, with when we get, what is it? We get like the challenges and shit like that, and the challenge flags. And when you watch something, remember when it was so hard to tell what a fucking catch was?
Oh my gosh!
And it's like this endless debate because you are watching something that's happening at 100 miles an hour at the slowest possible speed. And I believe it truly distorts things. And I think this is that when you zero in on a camera and it's like that one blade of grass, he was out of bounds. That one blade of grass touched his shoe. There's almost, and I think this is the hesitation with baseball to go to just robot umpires entirely. Is there something good about the eye test? There's something human about it, and I feel
Human
like
error,
the catch shit was so confounded because we slowed everything down and put it in high definition. High definition is also part of this problem. You didn't have this problem in the 90s. When the shit
you
was
got a
all
360 cam. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Every
and
angle.
it's so slow, and it's like, did the inch of this is that there's some. I always said this with a catch. It's like, just look at it. Is it a catch? Like, let's just look at it at regular speed. Is that a motherfucking catch? Well, we have called that if we were playing, and I know it's not backyard football, but if they're like, that's a catch, homie, then we should be like, it's a catch. And to Cam Newton's thing, I think it's exacerbated because they slow it down so much. If you look at the angles and this and that at the speed, he hesitated. Did he hesitate? Yeah, but he's also like a gazelle. It just, I don't buy it. It's like, I don't buy that the toughest guy that sacrificed everything for his whole fucking career was a fucking pussy in the biggest moment. I don't buy it.
People are going to hold that over Cam Newton's head. Just regardless of what happens going forward, that is always going to be an ink stain on his resume. What pisses me off is these Teddy Bridgewater fans that like are coming in saying like using that against him now. Like you sound like all the people we've been railing against for years. Like it's just so easy for y'all.
Do you think that's why you are a little hypercritical? Do you think that's part of your psychology? No, I think it's part of ours.
It's a part of it, but it's also Teddy Bridgewater has not demonstrated the type of talent that I want to see the Panthers have at the quarterback position. Now, is my assessment over? I'm not over. I'm not saying that it's over. My assessment's not over. There's a lot of football left to play. I'm saying that game did nothing to change my mind about who Teddy Bridgewater is. And I don't care who's mad about it. He has time to change it. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm saying he ain't proven it yet.
I'll tell you why I'm
better than I expected. He played better than I thought he was going to play.
My optimistic side of me wanted this to be an air raid offense. You know, I wanted this to be a ball is going to be going down the field at least 7 or 8 times past the 50-yard line, going air traveling 25 yards, right? And it just didn't happen. And I think my disappointment isn't necessarily in his performance. It's the offense that we're running didn't live up to what I was hoping to live up to based on what we have on the as weapons on the field. We have so much speed, but we're utilizing it in such short distance positions, and that's
the Joe Brady offense. That's what it's going to be.
It is,
man.
But
that's
we also got to look at it this way, and this is the only.
Yes, it is. Y'all are lying.
This is the only reason that I am okay with it now, and that I'm not as disappointed. Is Kansas City to a T. Even if you watch Thursday night Kansas City. No, listen, go back and watch Thursday night Kansas City.
They are not like Aaron Rodgers, where Aaron Rodgers was fucking darting that bitch down.
Every throw was within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Every 50-yard throw, every 50-yard pass that Patrick Mahomes had, within 5 or 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Every single one of them. Every one of them.
He might have had
one decent one, but that was overthrown.
The most aggressive quarterback on Sunday was Aaron Rodgers. That dude fucking will boot that, and it's perfect every fucking time. He's the best deep ball thrower. Joey the Blind Panther says, it's safe to say I don't believe in the eye test.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with Patrick Mahomes is I didn't see the game, so I can't dispute that, but I could swear I remember last year seeing people talking about plays about how far Patrick Mahomes threw the ball, and I saw plays that were just insane. Tyreek Hill running down the field.
He can throw the ball.
They do throw the ball down the field. Like, we can't
not
do
nearly as much as people think, because his stats tell you that he is this air raid offense. They are a screen-heavy offense. They are so heavily involved with screens and their short slant passes over the middle to Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, because they can get the separation that quickly, that I promise you, I watched that entire game.
He can throw the deep ball. You're right, Greg. Like, he can do it all. Like, so it's
he
not
can.
just that.
But what I'm saying,
Aaron Rodgers just pushes. It's not the same.
My point is that an offense that is predicated on the short pass isn't bad. And that's why that's my point, is if Kansas City can be successful with it, primarily 85 to 90% of their passes being within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, because they have playmakers that can get them beyond that, then that's fine with me.
Okay. We just need some playmakers.
Hold on. Let me add one thing on to what you're saying. I agree with that, but you also have Aaron Rodgers. So even on the short amount of times that you do have to throw deep, you have one of the best guys doing it. It's one thing if you have an offense that's predicated on those short passes, but then they're never able to hit
Patrick Mahomes.
No, what I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is, no, but Aaron Rodgers too. Were you talking about the Chiefs or the?
I was talking about the Chiefs.
Well, regardless, at the end of the day, you have a quarterback that can make every throw on the field. If we get into week 4 and 5 and we're still not utilizing those deep down the field attacks, then Joe Brady and the offense don't think that Teddy Bridgewater can do it.
And he might not be. It might not be his strength. Like, we saw it. Like, Teddy pushed it. He pushed it down. But they were, if you thought of it in the scheme of football, like kind of mid-range or mid-deep range, and that's okay, is we haven't seen – look, we sat here and talked about Cam Newton's MVP season in before he got hurt, and he was just straight dealing, and he wasn't throwing it deep. Drew Brees is not throwing it deep. Not all games are predicated entirely on the vertical pass game, so I do think Teddy is doing exactly what they hoped he would do. And that is, I think it's more than a game manager. I think it is a game manager with the idea of he can win. He can win, but you can't put it entirely on his back. Like, you can't just be like, all right, we're down 40. Go get him, Teddy. That's not fair either. I think he kept us in the game. I was completely fine with Teddy's ability in that game. And the last point was, it was a good one, and it was a question, and it was about somebody else. I forget what it was. Let's go. Ryan wants more.
Yep.
So, third and final call. We have two young defensive ends. Brian Burns, in particular, was never great against the run. He was okay. And Yetur, or the Yeti, is a rookie. Expect some growing pains.
It's going to take 3 years.
But like y'all over here talking about how our run game didn't improve, but I look at the stats, Mr. Stat Daddy. He carried the ball 11 times in the first half for an average of about 7 yards. Okay? He carried the ball, Josh Jacobs, 14 times in the second half and averaged 2.6 yards to carry.
7
with
yards
his
to carry
longest
is not
run
good,
being
though.
9 yards. So I don't understand what you guys are freaking out about. For a rookie defense to make that type of adjustment from first half to the second half is actually pretty decent. Of course, they're getting cooked. We have
I got one question. I got one question because this is the first call I've listened to. Sorry, Ryan. It's not a you. I just had to pee really bad. What's my initials, Stat Daddy? My name.
TD.
All right. Now, 3 rushing touchdowns by Josh Jacobs.
And
that's the problem.
Over 100 yards. Walk into the end zone.
It's not the average. I agree. The run defense was not as bad as we thought initially.
It was close.
It's situational runs, and it really sucks to give up rushing touchdowns from 6-7 yards out.
The problem wasn't even just that too. Like, you got to also keep in mind some of those stats are going to be a little inflated because they were straight running the ball, and we knew they were going to be running the ball there at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you can't when they were having the lead, they were definitely doing that. The problem is when we needed to stop the run, we were not stopping the run. But
I do think he's right in this, is that the run defense, when you look at it, was not as atrocious as we felt. The problem is that, and Rule said this in his press conference. He said, man, they're just running at will on the edges. And then right when we try to stop that, they run up the gut. And then we try to stop the gut. And it just wasn't working. And again, this is what I've been trying to tell y'all, Muggs. I don't care how hype you are on these talents, because we watched them in college and they're pass rushers, and this Gross Matos is not going to be good for 2 years. And Brian Burns might not be good for another year. Like, he's going to have to get better. It's just that simple.
It depends on the player. Chase Young isn't having that problem.
But we are, well, yeah, because he's not fucking bright. He's like Julius Peppers.
Yeah.
That's a different that's a different level of player, and I've always said that. There's this like cream of the crop that comes in, and they're just fucking. Now, I'm not saying these guys aren't good. And one other point that we do need to make here too is I'm not overly concerned about the Panthers pass rush yet. As I know everybody is having a shit fit because we didn't have no sacks or whatever. But if you look at that game right there, they were getting the ball out quick. It just wasn't us. We weren't suited to sack the quarterback a ton. So could we have gotten more pressure? Could we have gotten a sack in a certain instance? I don't think our pass rush is dead. Here, let's finish the call.
Freaking rookies starting in some of the more important positions. They're going to be out of place. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to forget to set the edge. They're going to overcompensate with their athleticism. That's just what happens. This is the first damn game of the season with a rookie head coach, a rookie play caller, and a rookie defensive coordinator in the NFL. The way Phil Snow runs his system is they scrap everything from the bottom.
Oh, we don't
and
know.
They build from the bottom up. And all their defenses within the first year is never good because it's a complicated system that they need to learn.
Why are the bad guys for saying how bad
But over time, with Nova Black,
it's not what he wants.
Played a lot of zone. He plays a lot of zone to try to keep the plays in front of the defenders, so that they can look, so that they can read, so that they can analyze, so they can decipher, so they can see which way the play is going. That's how you're going to learn. And once they decipher that and begin to break down offenses a little bit better, then he starts implementing more defensive schemes into his playbook. That's how he builds his defense. We're going to have a down year as a defense, guys. We all knew this from the get-go. We all knew that we were going to go 5-11. I don't know why you guys are upset. Cody and Stat Daddy, get over your bitterness of Cam Newton not being on the team. I get it. I love the guy too. But he's gone. Turn the freaking page already. You have to.
I don't like to hear that.
Crying and pissing and moaning about it, or I told you so, isn't going to make anything better. Enjoy our product that we have on the field.
I like
it's being built from the ground up, and it's not even It's just got started. It's not even finished.
He's a good caller. I'm just tired of the turn the page shit. Imagine this. Oh, if he called back for a fourth time, let's see if he did.
And one other thing. Damn it. Cam Newton always freaking missed his check down. He always
we gave you we gave you 3 calls. I'm calling it there. We gave you enough. You said the third call was the last. You want to hear it?
Dropped like 5. Hell no. Nah, we're done with my
Here's I want to make this point because I think you guys were about to make it. I'm the mindset of it's already over. You can't do anything to change it. Move on. If your mom was murdered today, would you just be able to move on? I mean, I'm just being honest. It's not. You can't compare the two, certainly, but at the same time, it's.
What about this? What if you got divorced? What if, hey, CK? What if your wife left you, and then you had your first Christmas?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about. I mean,
that like it's kind of even if you're dating somebody else and you're kind of it's better for everybody. And I'm very sympathetic for this. I'm kind of irritated, and I think Cody has always said this best: is let people deal with their own feelings. What do you always say on Twitter when these people are always saying this? Is like you're always cool with the people who are saying like get over it. Like yeah. But it's like we all get through our shit. Like you can't tell us how to feel.
Yeah, you can't.
And that's
tell
not
us
how.
how
You know, have you ever been in a fight with a girl? That's what my wife always says to me. It's like I'm like, you shouldn't feel that. And she's like, you can't tell me how to feel. I'm like, wait a second. Yes, I can, bitch. So,
real loud.
I didn't say that to her face.
Real loud to hold our quarterback to whatever standard we want to as fans, man. But listen,
we all deal with shit a little differently. And I get that some people are tired of hearing it. It's like, let's be optimistic. We don't want this to be the Cam podcast. I get that.
We're going to hear Cam's name for the next
for a
decade.
long time. Yes, yes. It's kind of like if the Packers didn't get Aaron Rodgers. Imagine if they would have gotten fucking Jamarcus Russell after Brett Favre. How long would you have heard Brett Favre's name?
No, I mean that's what I'm talking about. Like if Cam Newton has any success at the Patriots, right? We are going to hear about it for the next 5 to 10 years about, well, what if they would have done this? Well, the Panthers could have possibly been a contender this past decade had they kept Cam Newton in a black and blue, uniform. I mean, that's something we're going to have to hear for the rest of our lives. So, I mean, right now we're still dealing with the fallout of it. I think it's fair that we have a conversation. We have to compare the two quarterbacks. There is no other scenario.
You've got to be okay with it too.
Yeah.
Like
we've got to.
How many people in here? I know that 3 of us are married. Do you ever in your whole life, in just a fleeting moment, think of your first love? Not like you really, like not like I want to know what this person is doing.
Right.
Not like this or that. Like nothing to be.
Not like let me get that number and then just like rekindle an old flame. Yeah.
But like I can tell you, I'll tell you this girl's name. Her name was Catherine Dale. It was 6th grade. She never gave me the time of. I mean, she was always nice to me, but never gave me the real time of day. My first love. I mean, I was in love. She won't. Occasionally, every now and then, like her name will pop into my head. I don't even give a fuck what she's really doing. Just pops into my head.
Right.
Is that Cam Newton's our first quarterback love? Our quarterback love. And don't tell me he's not. Is that you can tell me that Jake Delhomme was wonderful. He was so wonderful because he was better than he was supposed to be. But Cam Newton was our first quarterback love. And it's going to be hard to forget that. In fact, we're never going to forget that. It's going to be Catherine Dale of 6th grade. I still remember sliding in my junior year of high school. We were in advanced algebra 2, honors algebra 2. I was such a slack ass. I was wearing Janko jeans. I go running in to the bell. The bell was ringing. I'm wearing these stupid ass giant 42-inch bottom jeans. And I trying to stop running as I go in the door, and I fucking slide in on my back like a dumbass. And I like look up at her. And I'm like, oh, fuck. This is why this bitch never gave me no time of day. That's what it is.
Did you get Jane Wallet too?
Yes. I skated. I was a skater and stuff like that.
Okay.
But you know what? Is that she always, every time I bump into her, she knows she's always nice to me.
There you go.
I don't ever see her.
Next call, bro. We got like a million calls.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got like 36 minutes.
Hey guys, Josh from Mass, driving into work this morning, driving out to Boston, and some thoughts about the game. If things get to settle, you can watch a little more stuff a little more closely. Start with the defense. I think I think our secondary is going to pull it together before the line does. I think the line play is really going to take some time. I don't know if it's a matter of they need different pieces. I think, again, we're still asking a lot of some really young guys. We're just throwing some dudes into the frying pan here. But as far as the offense goes, and all the talk about Teddy and this and that, and look, it's my criticisms of him stem from the things that David Tepper said when he started to put this team together, right? Sustained success. And one of the things you need for sustained success in the NFL is an elite franchise-type quarterback.
Yes, tell them.
Teddy's just not that guy.
Nope.
And that's okay. He's the type of guy that realistically we could probably squeeze out with the right people around him in the right circumstances. Yes, we could probably squeeze a Super Bowl out of that situation, but it's not going to be a multiple-year thing. He's the type of player where he's going to need, a big shot free agent names to be brought in on the offense around him to kind of ease up the workload on him. It's going to require very clever play calling because we all know he doesn't really have a great long ball. And there's ways around it. There absolutely is. It's not a deal breaker that he can't do it. I mean, what the hell? Brady and Breeze don't really have that at the point they're at in their career. But I think the offense shows a lot more promise because within that short to medium game, we've got a lot more of the tools to really work it and make it happen. Especially Christian McCaffrey. I mean, we're loaded with weapons around it, which is good to see. But yeah, I think we're in for an interesting deal. All right, see you guys. Keep pounding.
Josh, I got your whole 6-pack. It's still, or it's a 4-pack. It's actually a 4-pack of pints.
Josh sounds so much more normal all of a sudden. Like, he's just so much more level-headed. Like, he just seems like he is just like, I'm a normal working human being now. I can't be emotional about things anymore. Like, he just seems like he's so much more, like, calm, cool, and collected, you know?
It's a brand new Josh. It's
it feels like it.
For everyone, man.
Yeah, it's easier. You know what? This is actually one of those things, like, I didn't get up or down in this game as much. I got up, but that's what this season's going to be about. We're not going to be sad. Really.
You know what got us more emotional, I think, last week? It had nothing to do with the game. It had everything to do with the people saying that we were wrong for feeling the way we were feeling. I think that's where the emotion came in last week. It had so much more to do with the discounting what we were saying as though it was just fabricated out of thin air. And that's where I think the frustration is. I think there's validity in everybody.
They were more upset than y'all were.
Well, it's every time. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm saying it's both sides. Like, right. We sit here and say, oh, no way. Teddy Bridgewater is bad. I mean, there are certain things. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Teddy Bridgewater isn't the answer. But I'm also, of the same mindset of, I think Teddy Bridgewater has great attributes. I think we all just kind of have our opinion about Cam Newton, and being that people are saying, stop talking about it, stop doing this, stop doing that. It got me frustrated because that is this team's future for the next 5 years. It is. It's going to be
three.
Is there anyone? I mean, I'm wondering, is there anyone that's really upset, like when we are losing games this season specifically? Like if everyone feels like we're gonna go 8-8 or 7-9 or whatever, like if that's our best, if you think that that's our best, then is there anyone that's like, oh man, I hate that we lost this season? Like this
I think we're
season
playing
of
with
all
house money. I think we're playing with house money, and I felt this way in this game. You know, is that like that's why I'm not going to get that upset over any call or anything. We're playing with house. If we win, it's kind of gravy.
Yeah.
I won every game, and this is what I loved about this game, is that it was competitive and exciting and entertaining. I promise you this is going to be a long season. I saw the 2010 season. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a long season if we're getting mollywomped all the time. And we don't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? If it's 33-3 and this and that, and you're trying to drum up a conversation, it's going to be tough. So, no, it's exciting. There's a lot to think there. So, yes, positive things going forward.
Hey, guys, Calvin VA. Just going back to the post game real quick. I'm really not going to talk about it real long because it's whatever. I see that this fan base is split down the fucking middle. I kind of see both sides of it. I miss Cam, and I think Teddy did pretty good. It was for his first game. But anyway, just real quick about the Derek Brown thing. I'm not saying he had a good game because as anyone who watched the game saw that there was no pressure coming from our D-line at all. But I remember last year when we had Gerald McCoy and this man was getting 1.5 tackles a game. Some of y'all were ready to re-sign him because he could give a good pep talk in the locker room, you know, and saying that he wasn't doing bad. But Derek Brown having 3 tackles is atrocious, apparently. I'm not saying he had a good game. Like I said, you're supposed to get pressure up the middle. That's their main job. Tackles really ain't their main job, but, you know, you do want them to get tackles when they're running the ball up the middle. But I just thought I would talk about that real quick because, man, last year I liked Gerald McCoy as a human being, but he was not a good football player for us. He was not doing almost anything.
Good call.
And people wanted to re-sign him, so... like everything, man, this team's going to get better. Our rookies are going to get better. I'm not saying we're making a playoff run this year. I highly doubt that. But anyway, man, I'm more interested to see how this team grows and see what comes of it and see how these players play. And real quick, I just want to get y'all's thoughts on I called in post-game, but I don't know. I kind of got out early. I don't know if it played, but I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on Troy Pride. Jeremy Chin looked pretty good out there, but Troy Pride looked like he was struggling to cover guys, to make tackles, to get off blocks to make tackles. I think he's got a lot to work on. What are you guys' thoughts on that? And as always, keep pounding. We all love the same team, people. So let's
do it.
Good point.
You know,
Good call.
Keep pounding.
Can you just make that an audio bite? And
Yeah.
then just like we all love the same team, people.
Yeah, you really need to make
That's
that.
our mantra. Hey, before we get into the Troy Pride thing, I do want to touch on what he was saying with Gerald McCoy because that's a really good point what he's saying. But I think the difference there is we picked Gerald McCoy up as a free agent veteran. And even if he wasn't performing, at least he did bring something with the leadership and something with the cohesion of the team. We didn't spend a first-round number 7 pick on Gerald McCoy. I think that's the difference. And I get it. He needs time to develop. I'm not saying that, but I think for me, that's where I see that separation. But he raised a very good point there.
Derek Brown, though, was probably the best thing on that line, though. Like, I mean, if you looked at it, is that there was, he got on the ass end of 1 touchdown. Was pretty good on another. You know, I saw 1 great play. It's small stuff. You know, I mean, we can't. Here's the thing: is that so much of our judgments are made on, even with Troy Pride. thing about this is that you see him getting that TD on him. It's a good ball. He wasn't overly beat. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the worst play I've ever seen.
He just didn't have his head turned around, and
man,
and it was a great pass. It was a fantastic
great player
pass.
too, right? Like I mean, his tough matchups for a kid that's coming in the 4th round or whatever. You know, I mean, it's like that's a tough. He is getting thrown into the fire quickly. So I want to give him a little grace on that. But I saw one play from Derek Brown that really meant a lot to me. Is they're going to see one on Twitter where he comes on and he just bull rushes this motherfucker. That's cool. But I saw one where they rush the passer, it doesn't work out, and it's clearly a pass, and the ball gets away. And the first thing Derek Brown does is turn and run like 7 yards back, like he's like trying to make it and it was an incomplete pass, but this motherfucker was trying to tackle a slot receiver. He didn't know where he was at, but he had a motor on him. He was working hard, so I am excited about that. Y'all's thoughts on Troy Pride real quickly?
I think that we have a history of throwing cornerbacks into the fire before they're ready. I'm talking Benet Ben-Wickery. I'm talking Corn Elder.
James Bradbury.
Bradbury.
Zach Sanchez, who is selling his Twitter account right now.
Dante Jackson to a degree, too. So it's like, yeah, I mean, this is in part with Panthers tradition, but that's not their fault either. I mean, we signed, thank good old Marty Herney for this. We went and signed Eli Apple to be a contributor to this football team, and he's not able to play right now, and I don't know when he will be able to play. I think they said 2 or 3 more weeks he's going to be on IR, but I don't know.
I mean, Douglas is going to take care of business, bro.
I'm not upset with the way that he played today. I mean,
Troy Pride was like a 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah.
So like the fact that
poor fella, man, it was just a big stage.
Yeah,
going against the number 1.
Call that being thrown to the wolves, man. Like
because
I'm not.
Don't forget, Dante Jackson got hurt. You know,
which has happened every year that he's been in the league. That's why I'm worried about the secondary more so than anything.
And that's why they don't even care about it. The Panthers have given up on the secondary.
It feels like they have. Honestly,
they don't give a shit about it this year.
Yeah, I mean it's a bad situation when you have a suspect linebacker core, and then you have a very suspect outside cornerbacks, and the most solid part of your entire secondary is Trey Boston and Jeremy Chin.
All right, next call.
What's going on, C3 Nation? This is Jay Anderson hitting y'all up. Man, look, I already had low expectation for this year. I'm just like, hey, as long as them boys compete, it's all good. As long as you don't look terrible on the field, it's all good. I think, the team gonna have at least a top 10, top 15 offense. And I know the defense is going to be, not so good, but as long as they compete, as long as they compete, it's all good for me. I do look to be in the top 5 in picks, in the draft picks. I do look for them to be in the top 5. Hey, if they get Trevor Lawrence, cool. We can build something from that. If they get Justin Fields, cool. We can build something from that. Nothing against Teddy or nothing like that, but I'm just saying I already know that Teddy, most likely Teddy really ain't a long-term guy unless the dude ends up, winning 7 games this year and then 9 games next year. Yeah. Even still, I don't think I don't think they're gonna have Teddy as the long-term quarterback. Yeah. But all in all, I just want to see this. I just want to see the squad compete. Hey, man, they young. I just want to see see them compete. I want to see the veterans. I have better expectations for the veterans to play good, like Shaq, KK, Trey. I know CMC gonna bring it. Teddy, the veterans. The veterans. I want to see them compete better and stuff like that. So, I'll let y'all, man. Y'all be easy.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Jay.
Oh, that was a good call.
I'm just going to power through. We got 3
Yeah.
Hey, this is Jay Sirius once again. Jay Anderson once again. Hey, Cody, you say you're going to be a villain, man. Go ahead and be a villain, man. Go ahead and be a villain this year, man. Go ahead and turn up on them. Tell them haters to kiss your ass, man. You go ahead and be a villain, bro. Go ahead and be a villain.
Hey,
all right, man.
There you go.
Hey, I'm on full heel turn, bro. If there was any year for the Panthers to suck a big one, this is the one. You know I'm going to keep the same energy, bro. Appreciate you.
Good.
What's up, C3 fam? Chef Jeff here.
Oh, what's up, Chef Jeff?
And I just want to talk about something that's really just bothering me deep down. I've been just perplexed about it, and just it's been on my mind, on my heart, just for the last couple of days, day or two after the game. And I really just need to sit on the couch and talk about it. The game, it was all right. It was, whatever. I'm not really looking for anything this season. I'm on the, tank for a QB thing. But what really bugs me, and what I really want to talk about, is Matt Rule and his fucking sunglasses inside during an interview.
Okay.
Yeah, this got me.
Is he retarded?
No idea where he's going.
Or does he think he's like Richard Petty or some shit?
He has an eye.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just shallow, whatever. But my opinion of that man just plummeted. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
It was like,
but as soon as I saw the interview, and he's wearing the fucking sunglasses, I wanted to punch him in the face harder than.
Cut Jeff off because he's got one more call.
Hey.
He's got an eye infection, cornea scratch.
Yeah, I was gonna say he has that, but why is I guess it's because the ones he was wearing on the field were very reflective. But like I was sitting there thinking, like those would have been so much better if he would have worn the reflective glasses in there instead of those ones that make him look like he's straight up blind.
So is that what it was? Like he had some procedure done or something?
No, he had like a scratch on his cornea and went to like he
And
has
it's
to-
super sensitive.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Like he's got, it's kind of like you ever get your eyes dilated, you come out with those big ass black glasses they used to give you back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh no wonder he went for it with Armour on third down. He's like, I have another down left. He didn't realize it was fourth down.
He thought it was
There you go.
Christian McCaffrey.
He's
Hey
like,
guys,
oh
it's
wait.
Joey. Sorry I'm late. Anyway,
All right. Joey's asleep. We're going to end that call. We're good. All right. We're done.
Hey,
Well, we're done with
so-
the calls.
so-
We got to do ice up picks, obviously.
Old boy didn't call. Who said he was going to rip you a new one, Cody?
Oh yeah, Panthers, heels, what, dude? Yeah, I already know who that guy is, and I already knew he was not calling in. If he was going to call in, he would have called in on Sunday. He had no intention of talking.
My man said he was going to prepare his calls. All right.
It's gonna make me cry. He was gonna send me running home.
First, did you see where Matt Rule might be disciplined for taking his mask down while he was coaching the
A lot of coaches
I've
are,
read
yeah.
I've read that a lot of coaches are gonna start getting fines if they don't have their fucking mask up, dude. How stupid.
Bullshit. I thought they were testing. I thought they were doing all of this. Like, if you get these
That's
tests.
why it's so dumb. They're all negative.
All show. It's all show.
Yes.
Oh, and how is that? Let's be honest. If this fucking pandemic is pandemic-y as everybody says, how are there 5,000 motherfuckers in the NFL and not a single one of them got popped?
Yeah.
They said that in week 1 there was not one case of COVID. How?
Dude,
How?
they even social distance the commentators. Like, listen, either you know how to do this pandemic shit by now or you don't. You're not gonna learn how to do it watching a football game, bro. Like, it's like now that they're not doing it for safety. They're just
doing it to save face.
They're virtue signaling.
That's
all
it.
they're
No,
doing.
that's exactly what it is. It is like a thing of, it's like a, hi, we're doing this and y'all bitches aren't. It's
Well,
like, you
yeah,
know, it's like a pandering type fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's as much, it's to be honest, and it's what the Black Lives Matter shit is by the big media now. Like,
Yeah,
I don't believe any of y'all shit. Like, I don't believe any of it. I don't believe you give a fuck about any of it. It's just trying to
Very
In fact,
disingenuous.
it might be related to CK's ISO pick anyway, but
yeah,
I think we should just get the fuck out of here and get these ice up picks in. Who wants to go first?
I got a quick one, low hanging fruit.
All right, go ahead. Low hanging fruit.
I'm going international tonight. The story I heard this morning, I'm icing up the Indonesia because their penalty for not wearing a mask is you get arrested and you have to bury the grave of someone who died from COVID.
That's fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah, it's like a scared straight thing. It's pretty crazy. But that's the
medieval.
Yeah, that's the actual penalty if you get caught not wearing a mask. They have 8 cases of it so far where people got caught, arrested, and your penalty is you have to bury the graves of people who died. And it's pretty insane, man.
Don't spit on the sidewalk, bitches.
Right. You know, if you don't like living in America, just take a minute and look at some other stuff real quick because that's pretty crazy.
That's a good one, bro. That was a good one. We needed a good ice up pick. We haven't had one in a while. Who else has got one? I'll go. All right, I'll go because I got a fun one. Kind of a fun one.
Well, then let me go first because yours is more fun than mine. So
Okay.
I think we should end on
break
fun.
the mood. Yeah.
And
I have one that's not fun.
Yeah.
I'll go first and then you CK and then we'll finish with Tony. Mine's just pretty simple. Joe Biden is a fucking moron. I don't care what your political leanings are. He's losing bad with Latino voters, right? So he's doing this Latino outreach thing. He goes up to the podium and the first thing he does is start playing Despacito on his phone.
Not Ricky Martin.
And the speakers at the conference. Dude, it's like, bro, you cannot make up. Bro, they're so incompetent. Like, bro, I have so much.
Is that when you make people that are idiots look cool, you are fucking moron.
But like, you remember in 2016 when like Pokemon Go was all the rage, and Hillary Clinton was like, "It's time to Pokemon and go to the polls." Joe Biden just had that fucking moment for himself, dude.
Nah, that's even worse. That's just
They have not been able to capture the youth.
It's so racist.
Like they have not. Oh no, absolutely.
It's
they have not been able to capture the youth.
Super Taco Tuesday. Let's go vote.
How is that any different than when Donald Trump posted a picture of him eating the taco bowl?
Yeah,
and it's like, we have the best taco bowls here at Trump Tower. Like, you're doing the same shit. It's pathetic how little the Democrats feel they need to do in order to win this.
Barrera says Latinos hate Despacito unless they are single moms. All right, CK, what do you got?
So mine is almost similar in the realm of that. So about losing Latino voters. So you guys have heard of, like, from 2015, our radio announcement for the Spanish broadcast has been outstanding, right? And it's 2 guys, and it's an uncle and a nephew that do that. Well, the nephew, I can't remember his name specifically, but
Louis something.
And I think he is the one that is the most, like, energetic of them, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I feel like he is the one. Well, he works for the Panthers, or he did, and so he said that there was an article in the Charlotte Observer about how he had to walk away from the job to do the Panthers broadcast for the Spanish broadcast, and it stemmed from his political leaning supporting Donald Trump. And what is the frustrating part about it is that we have created, even the Panthers organization was reaching out to him, telling him to remove their name from his social media handles if he's going to support Donald Trump, essentially. I mean, granted, and here are some of the things that Tony had pointed out. Like, he was doing some, like, there were some conspiracy theorists. He was definitely going full-fledged Donald Trump supporting, right? Based
it wasn't
on
just support, but I agree. It doesn't. It was like,
yeah,
if you retweet something wrong, potentially.
Yeah,
but keep going.
Yeah. I mean, it's retweeting and all that stuff. But anyway, he wasn't even employed in the company. And the Panthers basically reached out to him and said, we need to have a conversation about your social media presence and basically saying you can't do that. And the problem I have with this isn't necessarily saying, hey, listen, people are crazy online, right? It'd be different if he was saying we need to go kill little babies on every other Sunday because God was telling me to do that, right? That's a different story entirely.
Can I
this
add
is
one
an opinion.
thing too while you're in that is, but
Yeah.
one of the or contrary arguments that someone put up was that he put up the conspiracy things, this and that, and somebody put also anti-vaxxer. Now I am a vaccinator, like I implore people, but at the same time, I think that there's people that could realistically have a different opinion.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like it's like I almost thought, like, why don't we fire Kyrie Irving then? Because he thinks the fucking world is flat.
I have a friend who to this day has problems in her flesh, I think, like in her skin, because of a bad reaction that she had from a flu shot. So again, it's like you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater.
But
you know?
they put that in. All right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
But
off.
no, and that's to be fair on that point. I never got the flu in my entire life until I got a flu shot. FYI,
Same.
never in my life. Period. Ever.
You're like that 12th anecdotal person that's told me that. That's starting to add up.
In
Dude,
my
it
life,
is.
In my life, the two worst cases of the flu that I've ever had came immediately after getting flu shots.
My kids have not had chicken pox though. Just note.
So I remember, and I'm not saying that vaccines don't work. I think that there is some validity to vaccines.
Oh, you're gonna get. That's what's gonna get you fired from this fucking podcast. Not
No.
Listen,
I was always that case. I'm like, oh well, it has nothing to do. I just never got the flu shot because I was irresponsible my entire life, and my mom wasn't necessarily taking me to the doctor on a regular basis. You know, so I never was getting it until my wife got pregnant, or she started to work for the doctor's office. She is. And then she was like, you have to do it. And I'm like, fine, I'll go get it. And I got sick first time in 25 years of life of being around, having zero, like if people were sick, I didn't give a shit. I was around every one of them.
Nose, that type of shit.
But now you have antibodies.
And so but I'm just telling you, man, it never happened until I got the flu shot. And I got like six or four times. I mean, 4 or 5 times that year. Anyway. But nonetheless, I'm icing up any company who, even if you're off of company property, if you're not representing the company in any way whatsoever, you telling them what they can and can't believe, or what they can and can't try to let people know what they believe. That I'm a firm believer where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So conspiracy theorists be damned. I don't care. If there's smoke, we all use that phrase. Well, she's accusing him of doing those things. So where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to those things, you refuse to believe it because you think it sounds too crazy because, there's no way our government's that evil.
Right.
Come on now. Anyway, ice up people who want to censor anybody who has a difference of opinion than you. And even though it may be conspiracy theorists and it may sound crazy, it's not necessarily bad because you also realize how evil people are in this world. Just take it with a grain of salt.
Without people questioning that kind of stuff, then people would just go with the flow with everything. It's so easy to control people if you don't have people who question this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I think this is where liberals or people have to be careful and cautious. And I'm a liberal. You know, like I lean a little. I'm social liberal, whatever.
Yeah.
I think you have to be cautious in this. Is that it seems like it's one thing to have problems with somebody because they're irresponsible and whatever.
Yeah.
But we have to be cautious too with hating people for being outside the mainstream.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And which is the irony behind this is that liberalism is supposed to be inclusive. You have to tolerate the intolerable. The people that we hate not hate is not the right word, but the people that liberals have been so critical of have been intolerable.
Yeah.
And you don't want popular culture or popular opinion to be the determinant of everything. So, yeah, that's the danger of democracy. That's why we have a republic, is because just majority, we can get everybody. All right, my ice up pick.
Yeah, fun note.
And still in the political lane.
But it's fun though, right?
I am icing up Kamala Harris for giving us a conservative fart. You're a liberal. You're a liberal, and you're gonna. You didn't hear this? Is that go Google Kamala Harris fart, and she's giving this little talk, and it's like a puff, like, and you can see she kind of grins a little bit, like she's talking, and she farted, or at least that's what everybody's saying. I'm upset with her because it was conservative. Just let it rip, baby. You're a liberal. Let it rip. Don't be conservative with those farts, Kamala Harris.
Democrats are conservatives. That's perfect. Of course, that's what she would do.
It was a little.
Yeah. That, by the way, that's what their
Odell is so disappointed with that fart.
That's what their campaign is.
It's a little
tiny farts.
Come on, baby, shit my face.
What? Listen, why had the Democratic? Why had the
other one? I did want to ice up that other dude who also he got fired, and that was the mug that said that the Monday Night Girl looked like she was on a adult film or something.
Yeah.
So I Googled, you know, I mean, like, what are you going to do? You got to look at it. And I was like, damn, this bitch didn't even wear anything. It was nothing. Like, they didn't even have a bottom down picture of this girl. Like, she showed nothing. It was because it was a pleather looking top.
So it was a matter of material in his mind.
Just a lame ass. And, you know, I mean, I don't want to, like, pile on for everybody getting fired in the fired culture. I think that's a little over the top at times, too. But I stop being dicks to everybody, folks.
No, nobody better listen to this podcast, especially when Caroline Can was here. Yeah, man, no, it's absolutely insane.
I'll tell you somebody that's on another podcast that I think's way hotter than Caroline Can. But I'll save that for a different discussion. It's the 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button. My name's Tony Dunn at @cat_chronicles. Cody Lashley, how can they find you?
You can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. My no.
Again.
Yeah, right. Now you can find me on Twitter at Cody Lax, CODYLAC. And on this podcast every Sunday and Tuesday, man. And tomorrow, me and my man Jeffrey Redmond are doing a live stream of the PlayStation 5 press conference.
Nice.
I'm watching. I will be tuned in. What time is that going down, homie? It'll be on my bell notification. It don't matter.
It'll be on 4 in the afternoon. We'll probably go live at about 3:30 to catch up on everything that happened with Xbox. We'll do a little bit of Xbox, and then we'll do a live reaction to some of this press conference.
Y'all gotta watch it. It's good stuff, man. It's fun to learn about this, just like I learned about Discord from these youngins. Thanks, John Kidgo Barrera. He said, good shit this week, fellas. On to week 2. Thank you.
Appreciate
for the
you,
love
bro.
bomb. It's going one step. We're one step closer to Steve Smith really icing this podcast up. CK, where can they find you and your cool woke ass Discord self?
So, first and foremost, you can find me on Facebook. I stream mostly Call of Duty. By the way, guys, if you have not played Among Us, we all got to get that. It's an easy game to download. It's nothing crazy, but it is absolutely fun. Anyway, but Tuesday next week, before the podcast, I'm going to be streaming Among Us with a group of other streamers. That's going to include Artura Spark, who has 25,000 followers.
And he's the badass player, too.
Yeah. Disabled Gamer, who has 50,000 followers. Jeff Leach, the voice of Ghost in Modern Warfare, who has 51,000 followers. Mrs. May, who has 500,000 followers. Doom49, who has 250,000 followers. And possibly Studay from Twitch, who has 250,000 followers.
God, you're a celebrity, homie.
So, and it's going to be a group of 10 of us. And so right now, those are the 5 that I have. And plus Phoenix Tebe, Capitan Shred, and myself. So Possibly going to get 2 extras in there. I'm trying to get them to get Stone in. Stone Mountain. That would be insane if I can get him. But right now it's those guys, and it's going to be like hours of literally just playing this game Among Us, and it is hysterical. By the way, if you haven't watched it, I played it last night. You can go and watch a little bit of the clip of it, but it is fun as heck.
Greg, why aren't we on that VIP list?
I know, right?
To be fair, you're not streaming.
And we hold on those coattails. We're like, man, we got 1 kill. I'm up to I'm averaging 4 or 5 now. But Greg,
I'm the decoy guy, you know?
Yeah, I had a great time hanging out with you guys on the Super Civil Servants podcast. I also saw, well, I know you're doing a bunch of other stuff. I saw another guy that does a Batman exclusive podcast, and I was like, I'm tagging this mug, send him on to Greg.
I was going to say that depending on the name of it, might be my other, because I have a Batman exclusive podcast too.
Yeah, I know. It was not you, though.
Okay.
Blake Bennett says, how close to the cameo? I'm guessing we're about over 50%. We got some good donations, not to the cameo last week, but I'll use them as all. They just, as long as my wife ain't spending
if we get enough money to get Steve Smith, we need to think of something like really cool for him to say. That way we can play that shit all the time.
Every time
and
you
it
open up
has
the
to
show,
be
yeah.
something too. I'm kind of worried, like if it's too open, that he won't do it. That's how I got Devin Funchess. I tricked Devin Funchess.
But you're talking about doing cameo, right? You're paying for it. He's going to say whatever you paid for him to say.
If you pay it.
But they gotta be careful. You can't be like I punch your babies in the face. They won't.
Well, yeah, but I don't think we're gonna say that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not what you would send him. Huh?
I want him to say, "I'm gonna punch you in the face like Ken Lucas." That's what I really wanted to say. All right, tell us about your podcast. Let's get the hell out of here. It's midnight.
Oh, I didn't even talk about the podcast, man. You can find me at the Bad Daddy 52 on Twitter. Check out the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. 7 days a week, we're dropping audio. I do live shows on Fridays, and we're actually going to start doing all our shows live on YouTube. So check out the Geekverse YouTube channel.
Subscribe.
You can see all the shows live.
Build a community, guys. It's awesome. And learn from all of these cats. You can learn about video games from 2 of these cats. You can learn about really nothing from me and a lot of nerd shit from Greg. We got to get the fuck out of here. 252-228-50.